ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. More threats, more attacks in the Middle East. President Trump now putting attacks on Iran's bridges and power plants on the table. Iran threatening to stop all energy exports from the region. And ABC's Mary Bruce says this comes after a quick turnaround by President Trump.
President Trump announced the plan.
We're going to guard it. We're going to get paid for guarding it. A lot of money.
Trump contradicting what his own Secretary of State said just last month.
No country is allowed to charge tolls or fees on an international waterway.
A full about face.
I don't think anybody should be able to charge a fee for the strait.
Trump changing his tune after oil prices soared and American Gulf allies called to complain.
Former top lawyer at Goldman Sachs, Catherine Ruemmler, set to face questions about her relationship with Jeffrey Epstein on Capitol Hill today. Epstein almost certain to also come up at the Senate confirmation hearing today for Todd Blanche as Attorney General. This is ABC News. Many of the soldiers who are now fighting for Russia in the war in Ukraine are African migrants, says ABC's Patrick Reevell, who has been speaking to prisoners of war at a camp in western Ukraine.
One researcher said to me they use the African fighters mostly as cannon fodder. They come over, they're often not well trained, and in any case, they then force them towards the front line because they want to use them in an assault wave. They want to send this wave of bodies forward to try and exhaust Ukrainian troops and ammunition.
ABC's Patrick Reevell. The second semifinal in the World Cup is at 3 p.m. Eastern Time today. Defending champs Argentina will face England. This is after Spain beat France. The game is in Atlanta. It's Wednesday, July 15th. You can see the Milky Way's glowing core tonight if the sky is clear where you are. It will be as a band across the southern sky. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
At 6:02, we have clear skies and 75 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Wednesday, July 15th. Good morning, I'm Brian Feldman.
And I'm Debbie Monterey. Homicide detectives are on the scene of an overnight homicide in North St. Louis. Police say a man was shot dead outside a gas station in the 1600 block of Union Boulevard, north of Martin Luther King Drive. It happened right before 4 a.m.
St. Louis County Council members last night approved about $2.4 million in mid-year budget transfers for the courts, human services, and public works. But they held back nearly $960,000 for the health department, the same agency whose funding fight ate up weeks of the council's summer.
Budget Chair Shalonda Webb opened the meeting accusing County Executive Sam Page of trying to derail that work.
It is unfortunate that we've had conversation shared from the county executive that will try to deter from this process, but we are committed to our fiscal responsibility.
Page later responded,
People of St. Louis County deserve a government that spends its time solving problems, not creating new ones. They deserve leaders who focus on the big challenges instead of getting stuck fighting over the smallest pieces of the budget.
Webb says she's now working to schedule an actual budget meeting with the health department before the end of July.
St. Louis City has settled a lawsuit with one of their leaders over the actions of the police department.
In 2023, Aldermanic President Megan Green sued the city after claiming she and others were indiscriminately tear-gassed while peacefully leaving the Stockley protests. The settlement is for $35,000, which Green says she will be donating to the nonprofit Invest STL. Green says the goal of the donation is so the settlement can be reinvested in St. Louis and benefit residents. In a statement, the St. Louis City Police Department says they stand by the men and women who risked their lives to serve St. Louis, adding the settlement should, quote, not diminish the bravery, sacrifice, and professionalism of the officers who faced life-threatening violence that night, close quote. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
St. Louis Police Union blasting that agreement. Police Officers Association business manager Joe Steiger says Green's position on the city's Board of Estimate and Apportionment raises questions about the settlement process.
It certainly seems like there's a conflict there, and I'd be interested to see who made that decision.
Green sued the city in 2018, claiming officers used tear gas on protesters without warning. Steiger tells KMOX the union would have preferred to see the evidence presented in court.
We're checking with a local doctor about what to do in the kitchen amid the nationwide cyclospora outbreak linked to fresh produce.
Foodborne parasite can lead to, we'll call it severe stomach illness. Mercy Infectious Diseases Dr. Farron Mannion tells KMOX there are simple ways to keep your food safe.
If you cook it, then you don't have to worry about, acquiring this germ. And we really haven't seen very many outbreaks. I'm not aware of any outbreaks associated with frozen products or frozen produce because this germ really doesn't like the cold. So if you do have fresh product produce, it's best to have it in the refrigerator as well.
For produce you do plan to eat raw, Mannion says it's critical to wash your hands and the food thoroughly with tap water. If you do get sick and you've got severe stomach symptoms that last more than a day or two, he says, call the doctor. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Federal funding cuts are impacting the effort to contain this outbreak of the parasite causing the diarrhea. That's according to St. Louis County Health Director Dr. Kanika Cunningham. She says information from the federal government about this disease is slow.
We are directly being impacted by the national cuts. Therefore, it is delaying information getting to us.
According to the Missouri Health Department, as of Sunday, there are 43 potential cases reported in the state this year, but none has been confirmed to be related to the ongoing outbreak. However, the health department says the investigation into those infections continues. Dr. Cunningham says, to her knowledge, none of the cases has been local to the St. Louis region.
In Metro East news, the Madison County Board expected to vote tonight to consider placing 3 non-binding referenda on the November ballot. One asks if the Illinois General Assembly should pass a law requiring government-issued identification to vote.
The second asks if state lawmakers should restore zoning control of wind and solar farms to local government. And the third involves Illinois placing a property tax cap at 1% of assessed value.
Expanding the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act, also known as RECA, proposes adding medical eligibility for downwinders, veterans, and uranium workers affected by the U.S. nuclear weapons program.
It's a big ask. And the bipartisan legislation is essentially an amendment to the existing RECA legislation. And Dawn Chapman, co-founder STL Moms, adds the biggest hurdle is being able to keep RECA in some form.
The last date for you to apply for RECA is going to be December 31st, 2027. And then there'll be a full year for them to process those claims. And then RECA officially expires, ceases to exist December 31st, 2028.
This new RECA amendment, which has not been submitted yet, is asking for a 15-year extension, something many in Congress may not want to support. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Chapman hosting an informational help meeting for residents dealing with RECA at the Blackjack Fire Department this evening at 6 o'clock.
It is 6:07. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll check the roadways and the weather for you and so much more. Stay with us on KMOX.
You work hard, follow the rules, and get absolutely slammed by taxes. Your paycheck taxed, your property taxed, everything you buy taxed. Missouri's tax system isn't broken, it's rigged against you. The lawyers and lobbyists working for big corporations and the super rich buried over 200 loopholes for themselves in our tax code. While they pay nothing on the services they use, working families are taxed over and over. It's no wonder they're lying about Amendment 5. Our corrupt tax system is rigged in their favor. They're getting a free ride on your back. Don't believe their lies. The truth is, Amendment 5 closes loopholes exploited by the super rich and slashes taxes paid by Missouri's working families, phasing out income taxes and cutting property taxes. They finally pay what they owe while you keep what you earn. Vote yes on Amendment 5, paid for by Missouri Promise PAC.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
It's not really a sports show. It's just
the show.
So I don't really have a sports show, but I love the Cardinals. I am born and bred St. Louis, went to my first game like so many of you, 4 years old. Couldn't believe how green it was standing there next to the players with my dad, and now I go with my kids. You get it. So when you listen to the DGS, it's going to be a slice of life happy hour, but we're always going to talk Cardinals.
The Dave Glover Show at 1. Then stick around for Cardinals baseball. This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
At 6:10, we need to check the roadways with Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Brian, we're not seeing any issues so far this morning, so that's the good news for drivers this Wednesday. Eastbound on Highway 64, eastbound on Highway 70. We are delay-free coming in from St. Charles County to St. Louis County, not seeing any of the issues. Headed into the work zone westbound on Highway 70, just west of Wentzville, David Hokel Parkway. That's good news as well. East and westbound 64 through the Central Corridor look good between 270 and Forest Park. Into downtown St. Louis, delay-free crossing the Poplar, westbound 5564. Our next traffic update at 6:20. Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sunshine mixing with clouds today. It'll be rather hot and humid this afternoon, high 92, then partly cloudy, warm and muggy tonight, low 76. A mix of sun and cloud tomorrow and very humid. Watch out for a heavy thunderstorm in the afternoon and evening, the high 90. Clouds and sun and quite humid on Friday with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm in the area, mainly in the afternoon, the high 89. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, we've got sunshine and 72 degrees downtown.
I'm Joe Pott. I'll run you through the All-Star Game. It finished last night. Those details are coming up in sports.
The news continues at 6:12. Pending panhandling legislation in St. Louis County does not have the support of everyone on the council.
Isn't obstruction of traffic already illegal?
Councilwoman Lisa Clancy questioning fellow Councilman Michael Archer's bill. Council Attorney Mary Dorsey says if the light is red, that's not blocking the flow of traffic.
What's an enforcement issue versus what's actually a policy issue where we need more policy? It's hard to legislate around people's feelings.
Clancy also questioned the timing of solicitation being banned from sunset to 9 a.m. without any exception for peaceful or charitable activity.
St. Louis County officers discovered the body of a man on a bluff ledge right next to the Gravois Bluffs shopping center in Fenton on Tuesday. Officers initially called out to the 600 block of Gravois Bluffs Boulevard for a midday welfare check. Detectives say the death is not suspicious. The cause of death will be determined after an autopsy.
Missouri drivers could soon see higher speed limits on some rural interstates and freeways. This after Governor Mike Kehoe signed Senate Bill 1408 into law. The measure sponsored by Southeast Missouri Republican State Senator Jamie Berger.
I don't think people driving 75 is a problem. I think people driving 65 or 60 mile an hour in the left-hand lane is more of a problem than people driving 75.
The measure gives state transportation leaders the option of increasing speed limits to 75 miles per hour on rural interstates and freeways.
A group that helps women find better paying careers says AI is shifting the job market.
Leslie Gill, president and CEO of the Career Accelerator Rung for Women, says the adoption of AI is impacting entry-level jobs.
We're still helping women train to be resilient, even with AI coming into the workplace. So, we're helping women think about how they adopt AI, the ethics of AI, so that they can be more career resilient.
Gill points out soft skills are also essential. Rung is getting ready to train its next cohort. Applications are due July 20th. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Business owners feeling a little better about things, at least according to the new NFIB Small Business Optimism Index, which picked up in June. Up more than 2 points, it's nearing the 52-year average now with real sales and expectations improving. According to Chief Economist Bill Dunkelberg, lower fuel prices gave relief to businesses as well as consumers, but higher costs across the board have business owners treading lightly.
Unless we act, Social Security will be unable to make full payments in just 6 years, says Illinois Senator Dick Durbin on the Senate floor.
That's quite an inconvenience. For others, that's quite a disaster. It would force many seniors to choose between purchasing groceries, paying their utility bills, or filling their prescriptions. Honest to goodness, it's that basic.
Durbin has introduced a bipartisan Senate bill, 4 Democrats, 4 Republicans. The Promise Act seeks to present a fair, bipartisan process to assure Congress finally debates and votes on the future of Social Security. It's 6:15.
This update sponsored by Rawlings. Visit the Rawlings experience at Westport. The 96th Major League Baseball All-Star Game last night in Philadelphia. And the American League wasted no time in getting to NL starter Christopher Sanchez of the hometown Phillies. Yordan Alvarez singled. Shea Langoliers and Bobby Witt Jr. walked before the Yankees' Cody Bellinger hit.
And the American League has loaded the bases here in the first. And that gives Cody Bellinger an opportunity. Up the middle, and the American League catches in. Alvarez in to score. Langoliers right behind him. 2-run single, Cody Bellinger. And the American League gets to Sanchez here in the first.
That's Joe Davis on Fox last night. Fellow Yankee Ben Rice followed. He added on for the American League.
Hits it hard here, and that's through. The Yankees have knocked in 3 in this first inning. Wood is in to score. Bellinger and Rice with RBI hits. 3-0.
So 3-0 in the first and nothing else until the 8th inning when White Sox win. The White Sox, Miguel Vargas hit against the Dodgers' Justin Robleski.
Oh, gosh. Wow, that ball is absolutely destroyed by Miguel Vargas into the second deck. Vargas, a first-time All-Star, one of the biggest surprises on the biggest surprise in the sport. And the Chicago White Sox tees off and makes it 4-0.
Well, there's your first extra base hit, Joe. Slider. He gets the head out, and it's a no-doubter.
That is how it would finish, 4-0 American League. And all 11 American League pitchers shut out the National League on just 3 hits. First shutout in the All-Star game since the AL back in 2003. Bellinger earned MVP honors for the AL side. He was presented the award by Phillies legend, Baseball Hall of Famer Mike Schmidt, who asked him if he thought that first inning hit was going to stand up.
Not in the moment. As the game went on, I mean, like I just said, the pitching was just absolutely dominant. And they said, keep your jersey on just in case. So I was just watching the game.
Bellinger was also asked about the AL scoring so quickly against Sanchez, who had earlier this year turned in a long scoreless inning streak.
Baseball is, one of the most unexplainable games there is. Sometimes it just doesn't make sense. And, the guys in front of me did a great job. They got on base, 2 outs. I'm up with the bases loaded, and I just tried to keep it simple. Bobby had a great at-bat in front of me, saw a lot of pitches, and, I got a good pitch to hit and try to put a good swing on it.
All 3 Cardinals reps got into the game. Riley O'Brien threw a scoreless 3rd inning. He walked a batter and he hit a batter, but also struck out a batter. Ivan Herrera grounded into a force out in his only plate appearance, and Jordan Walker saw some time in the outfield before striking out in his only plate appearance. Most everyone gets the next 2 days off. The Mets and the Phillies will open the second half of the season tomorrow night. The rest of baseball gets back on Friday. Next sports update comes up at 6:45. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. We all procrastinate. We put things off, confident we'll have time later. Well, one who procrastinates in choosing will inevitably have their choices made for them by circumstance. Could be an illness or even a death. And it happened to me. I was widowed at 41. It could happen to you. If you procrastinate and fail to plan for your future, for your children, circumstances and the courts will make your plans for you without your input. Eamon Gantner and Capriano help thousands of families plan for their future now. We can be your personal attorney too, guiding you with a will, trust, powers of attorney, Medicaid, and VA. You may delay, but time does not. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, YourEstateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
Now the news. At 1, the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
At 6:20 on Total Information AM, we need to find out how the morning commute is going with Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, so far so good, Brian. This update is brought to you by Huff Heating and AC into downtown St. Louis, westbound Highway 70, up to and crossing the Mutual Veterans Bridge. It's a great run into downtown St. Louis. Similar story crossing the Poplar Street Bridge. No problems to report coming up from South County, northbound on Highway 55 through South County, South City, headed towards downtown. Eastbound 44 looks good as well from Eureka headed towards 270, northbound 270. Not seeing any delays now north of Gravois through 44, Big Bend headed up towards Highway 64. Eastbound 70, eastbound 64. Great runs coming in from St. Charles County to St. Louis County this morning. Our next traffic update at 6:30. Frank Led in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
For dependable, no-pressure home comfort solutions, turn to Huff Heating and Air Conditioning. Locally owned and family-operated for over 40 years. Our team will work with you on a plan that fits your home's needs with financing available. And as always, your family's comfort is our family's business. Learn more at huffheating.com.
Today's going to be sun with some clouds, hot, humid, 92 degrees. Pretty much the same for tomorrow with a high of 90 and the possibility tomorrow of a heavy thunderstorm in the afternoon and evening. Right now it's sunny and 73 in downtown St. Louis.
The news continues at 6:21. AP correspondent John Gambrill reports the U.S. has taken action on Iran after Tehran's attacks on ships in the Strait of Hormuz.
The U.S. Navy has restarted a blockade of Iranian ports. Now, this blockade is aimed at stopping Iran from getting its crude oil to the international market. And that's important because crude oil is a main driver of Iran's economy. Now, this comes as Iran has been attacking ships going through the Strait of Hormuz on a route that is hugging the coastline of Oman. Tehran has insisted that any ship going through the strait must do so on a route through Iranian waters and must follow the instructions of Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard. Now, the U.S. had been trying to support those vessels, and the UN's International Maritime Organization had supported this route around Oman, but the ships that have been attacked by Iran in recent days all have been plying that route. All of this comes as the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow mouth of the Persian Gulf through which about a fifth of all crude oil and natural gas traded once passed in peacetime, has become the key issue over trying to end the Iran war. And as these attacks on ships have continued, and as U.S. airstrikes have gone on against Iran for days, and Iran has retaliated against Middle East allies of America, this has really called into question whether or not there will be any sort of permanent end to the Iran war. Already we've heard from the U.S. that any negotiations with Iran over its nuclear program or other issues would have to be on hold until the strait was fully open. And Iran is insisting that it must maintain control of the strait and be able to potentially charge fees on ships going through the waterway. That's been rejected by Gulf Arab allies, the United States, and other countries around the world, showing just how intractable this conflict is and showing that as these attacks continue, the likelihood of a full-on war breaking out yet again in the Middle East is rising.
Everything responds in real time. Just like if it starts raining now, you'd respond in real time. The markets do.
That's Patrick DeHaan, petroleum analyst with Gas Buddy, telling KMOX's Chris and Amy when we can expect another price jump at the pump.
So the oil price going up 10% yesterday not only reflects new escalations and attacks that have already happened that have reclosed the strait, but they're also assessing the possibility that there could be further.
The oil market looks at the here and now, but also the likelihood on how long all of this will last.
A big development in the debate over changing our clocks twice a year. House lawmakers passing a bill to keep daylight saving time all year long. Here's ABC's Sophie Flay.
Congress made daylight saving time permanent during the 1970s energy crisis, but reversed course after parents revolted over children walking to school in pitch dark winter mornings. In Florida alone, 8 kids were killed in traffic accidents. Permanent daylight saving time would mean the sun wouldn't rise until 8:52 a.m. in Seattle in mid-January and 9:04 a.m. in Indianapolis. But this new bill would allow states to opt out and make their own decisions.
Several people in the president's cabinet are loading up on sauerkraut to lose weight and improve gut health.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said he lost 20 pounds eating only fermented foods and protein. We asked a registered dietitian about that popular diet.
I think it is an excellent conversation starter.
Okay, great.
There's definitely a lot behind the benefits of sauerkraut. I'm a huge fan of food versions of probiotics. And I think that that's going to be the main benefit that we see.
Michelle Wilson is a registered dietitian with Brands Nutrition.
So sauerkraut and a protein, that's going to be missing a lot of our main carbs and fats. And then, as I've said before, fat-soluble vitamins can't be absorbed. So vitamins A, D, E, and K are not as bioavailable if you're not getting enough fat intake to absorb those things. But also it's just having, that good variety to allow us to feel full and satisfied as well. So if you're just eating protein and sauerkraut, it's probably not going to be very filling and satisfying because of not only the macronutrients missing from there, so those main the starches and fats that could be missing, but also the micronutrient variation of having more things than just sauerkraut to have.
She says other fermented food that will improve gut health include miso, kimchi, pickles, even sourdough bread. But don't go full board on fermented food.
Definitely don't want to go really, really intense with a new food because we don't know how our body is going to naturally react to that. But also as our gut bacteria is changing, then, we can have some GI distress as we adapt. So we need to give our body a little bit of time to adapt.
Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
It is now 6:25. Make that 6:26. And the time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
I fully admit that I find myself going down that rabbit hole of animal videos. My TikTok feed is a lot of dog videos and rescue videos. And I don't know, they just give me life. And that's another reason why I am so passionate about the Humane Society of Missouri and the work that their Animal Cruelty Task Force does, because they're heroes on the ground helping animals who need help, including dogs like my Lola, who was rescued from a puppy mill in Douglas County. Tom Ackerman's dog, Joey, is also from the Humane Society. So you could say they are the official shelter of Total Information AM, giving animals a second chance and rescuing them from terrible situations. It's really good to know that there is an organization doing that. And it's not just in the St. Louis area. The Animal Cruelty Task Force goes all over the state of Missouri. And yes, they help farm animals and others as well. So if you would like to learn more about bringing a new family friend, a little furry friend into your home, being a foster parent, or just donating to help them continue doing their great work, go to hsmo.org. hsmo.org. It's the Humane Society of Missouri.
Tom Ackerman here. Here's the thing about estate planning, and I hear this a lot, is, I have an estate plan. We did that years ago, but we've been meaning to look at it again. And honestly, that is the problem. Estate plans should not be one and done. Most plans don't fail because people don't care. They fail because life changes and the plan doesn't keep up. At Lederman Law Firm, it isn't just paperwork. It is an ongoing process. They build your estate plan to protect your family and your property, and then for a fixed annual fee, they actually help maintain it so it stays aligned with the changes in your life, your assets, and the law. That is a big reason why we have stayed with Lederman Law Firm all these years. If you're in the St. Louis metro area, including Illinois, and you want an estate plan that actually works, call the Lederman Law Firm at ledermanlaw.com or 314-514-9100. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to Supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At Supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to Supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's Supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, score!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
This is the Duke's Country Song. It's a song about good mayo, Duke's mayo. It'll make any dish sing. Get Duke's mayo in store. It's got twang.
At 6:30, we have sunny skies and 75 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today's Wednesday, July 15th. Good morning. I'm Brian Feldman.
I'm Debbie Monterey, and here's Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, if you're coming in from St. Charles County to St. Louis County this morning, you're going to see no issues headed eastbound on Highway 70, passing Highway 79, 370 towards the Blanchette Bridge. Similar story eastbound on Highway 64 from the Lake St. Louis area, passing 94 all the way up to the Boone Bridge. Northbound on Highway 270, took a look at those cameras, not seeing any issues passing Gravois, 44, Manchester Road up through Highway 64 into downtown St. Louis. Delay free so far this morning, westbound 5564 crossing the Poplar Street Bridge, westbound Highway 70 crossing the Musial. Our next traffic update at 6:40. Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be hot and humid today. At least it's going to be pretty dry, at least for the next day or so. Sunshine mixing with clouds. Hot and humid this afternoon, high of 92 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy, warm and humid, a low of 76. Right now, sunny skies and 75 degrees downtown at the Arch.
A 16-year-old is now facing murder charges as an adult after a weekend shooting rampage in East St. Louis. Prosecutors have indicted Jamir Davis on a dozen counts after a string of shootings across 3 separate crime scenes left 5 people dead and 2 others wounded. A 15-year-old also in custody. Pastor Mary Young knows some of the people involved and spoke with Fox 2.
People, please, train up your children. I know they've been trained good. You know, but a lot of times they get influenced by other children or whatever the case may be. This should not be.
We're told prosecutors are pushing to move that second teen to adult court as well. Police have not released a motive.
A Deloge man jailed on a $2 million bond accused of killing one and wounding another Monday at a home in Potosi. Washington County Sheriff Dwayne Reed says 24-year-old James Bess faces counts of first-degree murder, first-degree assault, and some weapons charges. Bess reportedly admitted to shooting his 2 victims.
A St. Louis County councilman wants his colleagues to speak up after a threat was made against a Ballwin mosque last week. Councilman Dennis Hancock, a Republican candidate for county executive, raised it during last night's council meeting, calling it an attack on a constitutional right.
Have someone do this and threaten the lives of innocent women, children, and men who are simply going to a house of worship to worship as they choose, which is their right under the United States Constitution. For someone to threaten that should be condemned in the strongest language possible.
Hancock says many of the mosque's members fled instability in their home countries for a better life here.
3 juveniles in custody and facing several charges in the fatal shooting of a 16-year-old girl this past Friday in Jefferson County. In a release, Sheriff Dave Marshak says the investigation near Hillsboro revealed the victim, Gabriana Boyster's body was abandoned for hours in her home before being found on Saturday.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It's 6:34, and we'll get your Money Minute to you coming up after this.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
1-2. And that's grounded up the middle. Diving play. Mason Wynn to his feet. He throws. He got him.
St. Louis
Summer baseball is on at Busch Stadium. The Cardinals host the Cincinnati Reds July 24th through the 26th for a weekend packed with Cardinals action and giveaways like the Victory Blue jersey and Kids Fredbear hat. Round up your crew and enjoy 3 days of summer baseball and family fun. Get your tickets today at cardinals.com/promotions.
The tradition continues on Saturday, July 25th, when the Cardinals play the Cincinnati Reds. That day, you can take home the fan favorite Victory Blue jersey, just like the one the Cardinals wear every road Saturday, presented by Stiefel. It's a clean, classic look that stands out all season long. Available in medium and extra large while supplies last. Step into Saturday in Victory Blue. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Michael McGreevy. See you at Busch Stadium.
At 6:35, time now for your Money Report, sponsored by Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. PayPal may be the target of a blockbuster deal. Payment processing firm Stripe and private equity firm Advent International are said to have offered to buy the fintech pioneer for more than $53 billion, according to Reuters. PayPal was an early mover in digital payments. It has since struggled with modernizing its technology as rivals such as Apple have seized market share. Turning to trading, Wall Street keeping a close eye on developments in the Middle East. S&P futures rising 14 points, Dow futures gaining 75. Yesterday, stocks finished the session with gains after the cooler-than-expected report on inflation. Consumer prices fell in June for the first time since 2020. The S&P 500 rose 0.4%, and shares of IBM plunged more than 25% in trading yesterday after the company warned that sales this quarter fell short of expectations. This report is sponsored by Vanguard Investor Choice, a proxy voting program for eligible Vanguard Index funds. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
What has your candidate actually delivered? In Clayton, Ladue, Olivet, and Warson Woods, there's just one Democrat running for state representative who can answer. That's Sidney Clark. As mayor, he's delivered more than $100 million in economic growth and some of the strongest home values in the region. Balanced budgets, steady leadership, a neighbor since 1973. And now, Sidney Clark will protect what you've built, stopping costly data centers from hiking your utility bills, and voting no on Amendment 5, which actually increases taxes on everything you buy. No other candidate in this race can say it. Sidney Clark has already done the job, and he's ready from day one. Sidney Clark, results, not rhetoric. Democrat for State Representative, District 99.
I'm Sidney Clark, and I approve of this message. Paid for by Sidney Clark for State Representative, District 99. Tammy Clark, Treasurer.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour, and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
Soldiers Memorial Military Museum looks at American military history through the lens of St. Louis. From the Revolutionary War to the present day, the gallery showcases stories of local service members and delve into the city's wartime history. Outside, the Court of Honors includes monuments to those who lost their lives in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Open Wednesday through Sunday. Admission is free. Find information about special exhibits at mohistory.org/memorial. That's mohistory.org/memorial.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Tomorrow night, it's City Soccer on KMOX. First up, Gen C's hosts a special soccer edition of Sports Open Line beginning at 6 from Energizer Park. Then, it's City SC facing Sporting KC. Pre-game 7:05, kick at 7:30. City Soccer on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is now 6:39, and you're listening to Total Information AM.
Aortic dissection. I'm Fred Bottomer with 60 Seconds to Better Health. Fox News senior medical analyst Dr. Mark Siegel says the tragic death of South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham due to a ruptured aorta should make all of us step back and think about our heart health.
First of all, your diet, how much you're sleeping, how much you do regular exercise. We have Oura rings now where you can actually monitor yourself. You got to go in for regular checkups, and it's not just men. It's also postmenopausal women are at equal risk. You have to be checked by a physician. You have to have EKGs. We have a new test, fairly new test out called a CT angiogram, which looks exactly at the arteries of the heart. We can look at the aorta as well. We have echocardiograms. We have the ability to diagnose things like this way beyond than we had many years ago. And then treatments, we got anti-cholesterol drugs that'll bring your cholesterol really, really low and get your blood pressure under control. All that everybody out there should be thinking about today.
With 60 Seconds to Better Health, I'm Fred Bottomer.
At 6:41, let's check the roadways with Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, seeing just a little more volume now ramping on to eastbound Highway 70 from southbound Highway 61. Certainly no slowdowns, though. Just a little more volume headed through the Wentzville area into St. Charles County. Eastbound on Highway 70 is delay-free. Headed towards the Blanchette Bridge. A little more volume as well northbound on Highway 270. This is in that stretch north to Doherty Ferry up to about Manchester Road. North of there, great run headed towards Highway 64 into downtown St. Louis. Westbound 5564 crossing the Poplar. We are delay-free so far this morning. You do have a pocket of volume northbound on Highway 55 in the Arnold area. North of there, not seeing any issues making your way up towards Highway 270. Our next traffic update at 6:50. Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
It is 6:42. Let's check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist. That would be Joe Lundberg.
And it's going to be a toasty day today with sunshine, kind of a hazy sun at that. Believe it or not, there's some high-altitude wildfire smoke that has come around the circle, if you will, all the way from Canada through parts of the east and worked its way back into our area. So something we'll have to contend with today. But temperature's still going to get into the low 90s. Then tonight, mainly clear skies. It'll be warm mid-70s. Tomorrow, sunshine mixing with clouds, and there is a risk for a thunderstorm tomorrow afternoon and evening as well. Tomorrow's high about 90. Looks like the most active day will be Friday. Clouds and sun, very humid. A couple of showers and a heavier thunderstorm, especially in the afternoon, the high 89. Starts to dry out this weekend, and with more sunshine, we start to warm it up. Maybe 92 Saturday and 93 on Sunday. Currently 74 at St. Peter's, at 75 in Florissant, 77 with that sunshine downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
I'll tell you just how hot Jordan Walker is as he heads into the second half of the season. That's straight ahead in sports.
We at this point don't want to decrease people's intake of healthy foods. We just want to make sure that you're taking them in safely when you eat them.
That's Dr. Ryan Stanton, president-elect of the American College of Physicians, talking with CNN about how to keep yourself safe for being infected from Cyclospora.
That parasite is spread through food and water contaminated with feces. Dr. Stanton says hand washing is very important.
I would use anytime you've been out in public for a while, definitely every time you've used the restroom, and before you eat. Anytime before you eat, that's the most important. Wash those hands, soap and water. This harkens back to the COVID days.
But Stanton cautions hand sanitizer is not sufficient to kill the Cyclospora parasite. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
President Trump threatening to expand the U.S. bombing campaign in Iran, telling Fox on Tuesday that there will be successive days of attacks this week.
Next week it gets really bad for them because next week comes the power plants. Next week comes the bridges. We're going to knock out all their power plants. We're going to knock out all their bridges unless they get to the table and negotiate.
One person dead, 3 people missing after a pontoon boat sank Tuesday afternoon in the waters off San Francisco.
One person is dead, 3 people are missing after a pontoon boat sank Tuesday afternoon in the waters off San Francisco. On the boat were mostly family members holding a memorial service. 16 people were rescued. The group was on a 3-deck pontoon vessel almost filled to capacity near Alcatraz Island. When crews arrived at the scene, they found the vessel almost fully underwater, with the motors still running and leaking fuel. Rescuers have been searching for the missing with divers, helicopters, and boats in open ocean on the western side of the Golden Gate Bridge. I'm Donna Warder.
Who's Hot is sponsored by St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, and making memories. Well, after the dramatic win at Monday's All-Star Home Run Derby, it's hard to imagine anyone taking any more momentum into the second half than Cardinals outfielder Jordan Walker, even despite going 0 for 1 in the All-Star game itself. Walker has the major league lead in RBIs with 74 heading into the second half. He's 4 RBIs ahead of Houston's Yordan Alvarez, and he's 6 in front in the National League. Walker was on a roll headed into the break. He's reached base in 18 straight games. That matches his career high from 2023, his rookie season. He was also working on a 7-game hitting streak. He has hits in at least 12 of 13 games in the month and hitting .341 with an 1.116 OPS in July. Now, how good has Walker been in his first half of the year? He's only the 6th major leaguer and first Cardinal to have more than 100 hits, more than 22 homers, more than 74 RBIs, and more than 13 stolen bases before the All-Star break, joining the likes of Willie Mays, Reggie Jackson, Jeff Bagwell, Ken Griffey Jr., and Jose Ramirez. About last night's All-Star game, well, Riley O'Brien threw a scoreless inning. Ivan Herrera went 0 for 1, but the American League shut out the National League 4-0 in last night's game. Spain earned its spot in the World Cup final yesterday. They ousted former champion France 2-0 in Dallas. Both teams finished with 10 shots. Spain took the lead on an early penalty and then added on in the 58th minute.
Porro, Olmo, the return, Pedro Porro!
John Strong with the call on Fox Sports. Spain will either face England or defending champs Argentina in the World Cup final. Those two nations will meet in the second semifinal. That is set for today at 2 o'clock in Atlanta. St. Louis City faces Sporting KC Thursday at Energizer Park. Jen Cease explains why City believes it's in a good place as the second half of the MLS season gets underway.
St. Louis City SC believes it found its identity before the World Cup break. Now the challenge is building on it. Center back Timo Baumgartel says the club wants to build on the progress it made before the break.
At the end of the first half, we had some good games. We won a lot. We were successful. So we want to just continue with that.
Baumgartel says the goal isn't simply to repeat what City did in May. He wants the team to be even better.
We want to be more aggressive, also press a little bit more. And we just want to develop in these principles, want to get more points. I think all the fans would be happy if we win our game on Thursday.
Due to yellow card accumulation, midfielder Chris Durkin will miss Thursday's match, but Tomas Ostrak is back in full training, and head coach Yoann Demey may push his attacking qualities higher up the pitch. Be sure to join us for a special edition of KMOX Sports Open Line live from Energizer Park on Thursday at 6 p.m. Joining me will be Bill McDermott, Ty Keogh, and Brad Davis to talk World Cup soccer and more. Then catch our City pregame show at 7 on KMOX and Y98 before kickoff against rival Sporting KC at 7:45. Jen Cease, KMOX Sports.
Next sports update is 7:15. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Tom Ackerman for St. Louis Composting. Now, here we are in the middle of summer, and we could hit those drought conditions. I know we've had some rain recently, but your lawn needs the best soil, your garden needs the best compost, and your landscaping needs the best mulch. And St. Louis Composting can handle all of that in one place. STLcompost.com, or you may choose to back up your truck or trailer at any of their 9 locations. There's one close to you here in the St. Louis area. St. Louis Composting. Now is a great time to get that landscape cleaned up, add compost to your garden beds. And if you're not sure how much compost, mulch, or soil you need, use the material calculator at STLcompost.com, and you can figure out exactly how much soil or mulch your project requires. Refresh it all with St. Louis Composting STLcompost.com. That's STLcompost.com. Growing gardens, making memories.
I'm with Mark Cantor of Cantor Injury Law. And Mark, why is it so important for you to be a local law firm?
Well, being local means more than just advertising here, more than just a billboard on the highway. It means showing up here. It means supporting local events and local charities.
But why is local so important?
It's important because we know the law, we know the judges, we know the roads, and we understand the community.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
You can count on Cantor. Visit CantorInjuryLaw.com.
When pain starts to slow you down, BJC Healthcare and WashU Medicine orthopedic specialists are here to help. Nationally recognized leaders in orthopedics deliver care that's informed by research and personalized for you. From everyday aches to complex injuries and recovery, we're here to help you get back to doing what you love. Find an orthopedic specialist today. Visit bjc.org/orthopedics or call 314-362-9355.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX. Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is now 6:50. Let's get a road check and a weather check for you right now before we get to news and birthdays. Roger Brand has the day off. We have Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, we just had a call out for a stalled vehicle northbound on Highway 270 north of Big Bend, but I'm not seeing any major issues there, not seeing major slowdowns, just your normal volume north of Doherty Ferry headed up towards Manchester Road. North of there, great run towards Highway 64. Into North County this morning, touching on the Chain of Rocks Bridge, a great run as well, westbound Highway 270 into North County from the Metro East. Eastbound on Highway 64, no problems to report coming in from 270 through the Central Corridor towards 170 and the Forest Park area. Westbound Highway 5564, no problems to report crossing the Poplar Street Bridge into downtown St. Louis. Similar story westbound Highway 70 crossing the Muswell Veterans Bridge. Our next traffic update at 6:58. Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
Hot and humid. That is the name of the game for today. From a weather standpoint, sunshine mixing with clouds. Hot and humid in the afternoon. High of 92 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy, warm and humid. Low of 76. Tomorrow, some wet weather coming our way in the afternoon. A heavy thunderstorm after lunch and possibly into the evening. Hot during the day, though. High of 90. Friday, more of the same. Intervals of clouds and sunshine. Humid, but more showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. High of 89. Right now, we have sunny skies and 76 degrees downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 6:52. Panhandling is once again being looked at by the St. Louis County Council. Michael Archer, councilman, says his legislation is a starting point to make people and area roads and highway exits safer.
Going to be dealing with some of the non-governmental aspects also of dealing with homelessness. I've already dealt with some of the veterans organizations with whom I have relationships with. And this legislation is by no means written in stone.
The one dissenting council member, Lisa Clancy, says some of her constituents have said this legislation essentially criminalizes poverty, and in many respects says she agrees.
The city of St. Charles looking into whether a neighborhood of tiny homes could be the solution for homelessness. Under the proposal, roughly 40 tiny homes, each about 400 square feet, would be built.
Residents would pay a few $100s a month in rent and have access to on-site support services. To qualify, residents have to be local, diagnosed with a physical or mental disability, and have a some source of income.
One person died in a crash Tuesday evening on eastbound Interstate 64 near 270. The Missouri Highway Patrol says it happened just before 7. Troopers report the driver of a car going the wrong way killed when it struck another vehicle.
Governor Kehoe signing a law creating the Missouri Rangers program. The bill's sponsor, St. Louis County Republican Senator David Gregory, Says the program is designed to give schools access to specially trained personnel focused on protecting students.
This program is actually more difficult to qualify physically than it is to be a United States Marine. This is designed only for the more elite humans that want to protect schools. And the reason schools are supportive is because it's optional. You don't have to have a Ranger.
The new program will be overseen by Missouri's Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission. It requires up to 160 hours of specialized training and background checks.
We're expected to feel the heat and humidity again today here in the St. Louis region. It's also been a concern this week in Chicago. This mechanic at a shop in suburban Elmhurst has some ideas for staying cool.
It can be tough. Not a lot of shops have AC. Take breaks for water, ice water, little cold ice coffees will also help, but mainly the fans. Fans help a lot.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
Celebrity birthdays on this July 15th include movie actor Forrest Whitaker is 64 years old today. Basketball player Damian Lillard is 35. TV actor Taylor Kinney is 44. And movie actress Diane Kruger is 49.
The birthday shout-out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back. Happy birthday wishes going out to Jan Campworth, Alex Buckite from the Spring family, Tim Eby, Joe Geerling, and Nancy Schnoblin-Imms.
This is the best birthday ever.
You work hard, follow the rules, and get absolutely slammed by taxes. Your paycheck, taxed. Your property, taxed. Everything you buy, taxed. Missouri's tax system isn't broken, it's rigged against you. The lawyers and lobbyists working for big corporations and the super rich buried over 200 loopholes for themselves in our tax code. While they pay nothing on the services they use, working families are taxed over and over. It's no wonder they're lying about Amendment 5. Our corrupt tax system is rigged in their favor. They're getting a free ride on your back. Don't believe their lies. The truth is, Amendment 5 closes loopholes exploited by the super rich and slashes taxes paid by Missouri's working families, phasing out income taxes and cutting property taxes. They finally pay what they owe while you keep what you earn. Vote yes on Amendment 5. Paid for by Missouri Promise PAC.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circa Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. For everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circa Sports app, then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circa Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Things in Washington, D.C. may seem unsettled at times by their lack of progress. But one department in the U.S. government is progressing. That is the IRS. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. The IRS is in full function to collect on unpaid taxes. If you've been putting off a tax problem, it's time to call the Lance Story Law Firm and get it resolved. Don't think the government is too busy to focus on my issues. Too many of my clients thought the same. So if you owe back taxes or haven't filed returns in years, it's time to call the Lance Story Law Firm and finally resolve your tax issues. Remember, if you have tax problems, you have legal problems. Call the Lance Story Law Firm. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Or call 314-260-6120 or visit LanceStoryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
At 6:58, let's check the roadways with Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's not bad out there so far this morning, Brian. Headed southbound on Highway 61, Little Valley passing through Wentzville. East to there, eastbound on Highway 64. We are delay-free headed through St. Charles County, through St. Louis County, into Chesterfield Valley, coming up that hill. No problems to report. Eastbound Highway 70, coming out of St. Charles County as well, passing Lake St. Louis, Highway 79 all the way up to the Blanchette Bridge. Northbound on Highway 270, you got that pocket of volume near Doherty Ferry, headed up towards Manchester. North of there, pretty good run towards Highway 64, delay-free in that stretch. Northbound 55, not seeing any issues now. Coming up from south of Arnold, up through the 270 interchange, through South County, South City, into downtown St. Louis, delay-free as well. It's a great run. Westbound on 55-64, crossing the Poplar. Westbound on Highway 70, crossing the Musial. Our next traffic update at 7:10, Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Wednesday, the 15th of July. I'm Debbie Monterey, and the tension between St. Louis County Executive Sam Page and some county council members continued last night. We've got a recap coming up.
Good morning, I'm Brian Feldman.
There's bipartisan legislation calling for the expansion of RECA. I'm Maria Aquino with what it means for the St. Louis area.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Sunshine mixed with some clouds at times today. The high, 92.
I'm Joe Pott. It was the American League's night last night at the All-Star Game. I'll have those details in sports.
And we've got ABC News at the top of the hour here on KMOX.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. American forces carrying out new attacks this morning on targets in Iran, the first daytime attack since the first 40 days of the war. This after President Trump threatened to go further than the U.S. military has gone so far.
Next week it gets really bad for them because next week comes the power plants. Next week comes the bridges. We're going to knock out all their power plants. We're going to knock out all their bridges. Unless they get to the table and negotiate.
President speaking to Fox. One person's dead, 3 still missing after a boat capsized overnight in San Francisco Bay, not far from Alcatraz. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, nominated by President Trump to get the job permanently, faces a Senate confirmation hearing this morning. ICE now suspending vehicle stops in its crackdown on illegal immigration after a pair of deadly shootings recently, one in Maine, the other in Texas. Officials say officers will get more training. This is ABC News. A group of 26 Meta employees has sued the company, claiming it used artificial intelligence systems that disproportionately targeted those on medical or family leave for layoffs. Today's the second semifinal in the World Cup, defending champs Argentina against England. This after Spain beat France. The game is in Atlanta at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Months of recovery are ahead for tree trimmers Isaac and Andrew Reyes in Ponca City, Oklahoma. A cable snapped and they both fell 45 feet to the ground. Isaac has a broken leg and 2 broken ankles. Amazed at the community's reaction.
What we experience, it makes you feel loved and appreciated, and it makes you proud to be from Ponca.
That's Isaac. Ditto from his brother Andrew, who has a fractured jaw and a broken nose.
It's definitely been a blessing. Shocking for sure. Blessing. A lot of good people in the city.
Friends and family set up a GoFundMe online in a local restaurant, hosting a fundraiser for them later this month. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
At 7:02, we have sunny skies and 76 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today's Wednesday, July 15th. Good morning, I'm Brian Feldman.
And I'm Debbie Monterey. St. Louis County Executive Sam Page reviving a personal accusation against Councilwoman Shalonda Webb last night. It's one she's already denied and called a lie. Page claims Council Chair Rita Days is keeping several of his concerns off the public agenda, including claims that Webb threatened a county department director.
Residents also deserve transparency regarding the concerns about the treatment of county employees and residents, including allegations of unprofessional and threatening behavior by Councilwoman Webb. Those communications were also withheld from public discussion.
Unlike last month, Webb's response Tuesday was more muted.
As the county executive has made reference to letters that he has sent accusing me of behavior and words that I did not do, I will not elaborate. I will allow the legal process to take its place and let the attorneys do what they have to do.
Their back and forth happened the same night the council held back nearly $1 million in funding for the health department run by Dr. Kanika Cunningham. The director Page says Webb threatened.
Aldermanic President Megan Green in St. Louis City have settled a lawsuit regarding how police treated her during protests over the Stockley verdict.
President Greene alleged in her suit she and others were tear-gassed while peacefully leaving a protest on September 15th, 2017. Now, Greene and the city have settled for $35,000. In a statement, Greene says her lawsuit was always about holding police accountable when they abuse their authority, violate federal injunctions, and take advantage of public trust. Greene says she's committed to donating her settlement to Invest STL, a nonprofit organization. A spokesperson for the city police department says despite the settlement, quote, it should not diminish the bravery, sacrifice, or professionalism of the officers who faced life-threatening violence that night, close quote. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The union representing St. Louis police officers is raising concerns over that city settlement with Greene. Union business manager Joe Steiger says the payout is frustrating given the ongoing disputes over police funding.
It just would be nice to hear something from the city hall. And, here we are in what they describe as a budget crisis, specifically as it pertains to the police department. And to have this type of settlement with the president of the Board of Aldermen just seems it seems that certainly something that you should expand on a little bit and explain how they came to this judgment.
On the budget battle, Steiger believes the courts will ultimately decide how much the city has to spend on police.
We're awaiting more details from St. Louis City Police on an overnight homicide case in the Kingsway West neighborhood. Officers say a man shot dead outside a gas station in the 1600 block of Union Boulevard just prior to 4 this morning. That's north of Martin Luther King Drive. Lots of evidence markers could be seen around a white Toyota.
A 16-year-old now facing murder charges as an adult after a weekend shooting rampage in East St. Louis. Prosecutors indicting Jameer Davis on a dozen counts after a string of shootings across 3 separate crime scenes left 5 people dead, 2 others wounded. A 15-year-old girl is also in custody.
Pastor Mary Young knows some of the people involved. She spoke with Fox 2.
People, please, train up your children. I know they've been trained good. But a lot of times they get influenced by other children or whatever the case may be. This should not be.
We're told prosecutors pushing to move that second teen to adult court as well. Police have not yet released a motive.
Some members of the House, including Congressman Wesley Bell, are requesting an amendment to expand the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act.
This bill would expand geographic and medical eligibility affected by the U.S. nuclear weapons program. Congressman Wesley Bell.
Those folks endured decades of health crises, economic struggles, and profound neglect by the very government that should be protecting them.
Don Chapman, co-founder STL Mom, says the proposed legislation is adding to the existing RECA, things people would like to see.
There's a lot of things we can do to this legislation to make it better and fair and to keep adding on to it. But I have to be honest with you, our biggest thing is going to be just to be allowed to keep RECA.
The legislation has not been introduced yet, but is expected to face an uphill battle. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Don Chapman is hosting an informational help meeting for residents dealing with RECA at the Blackjack Fire Department tonight at 6.
Missouri's healthcare providers now required to provide life-saving care if a baby survives an abortion, or they could be charged with murder. Governor Mike Kehoe signed the Born Alive bill Tuesday. It also makes it a crime for any person who knowingly performs or attempts to perform an overt act that kills a child born alive.
A new Missouri law gives state transportation leaders the option of raising speed limits on some rural highways from 70 to 75 miles per hour. Southeast Missouri Republican Senator Jamie Berger, who sponsored the legislation, says improvements in vehicle safety help shape his thinking on the issue.
Every day, older cars are being replaced with newer cars. We drove 70 miles an hour back in the 70s and 80s without seatbelts, without airbags, with 5 people in the front cab of a pickup, and we lived through that, and I think we'll live through this.
The new law gives the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission and the Missouri Department of Transportation the authority to make that change.
We'll check traffic and weather next. It's 7:08.
Let's take a break.
Good idea.
Hey, Tom, what are you doing on that Amendment 4?
You know we fought for our freedom and rights. I'm not giving them away without a fight.
4 takes them?
That's exactly what 4 does. For over 100 years, Missouri voters have used our constitutional power to act when the politicians refused. I'll be darned if I'm voting to pass on less freedom and power to my kids.
And doesn't 4 kill majority rule?
Yep, creates minority rule, where just 5% of statewide voters in one district can block any citizen-led reform, making it nearly impossible to pass citizen-led ballot measures.
That's just dumb.
And when the politicians refuse to act, we've used citizen-led ballot measures to pass some big stuff, like lobbyist reforms, term limits for career politicians, and outlawing tax hikes without voter approval.
I'm not surrendering my power and rights to a bunch of politicians and lobbyists. I'm no on Amendment 4.
Hard no on 4.
Paying 4 buttons every inch per care governance.
Hey guys, this is Kevin Wheeler. If you're looking for a little kick in the pants when it comes to dropping a little weight, getting better shape, getting more into the gym, think about Burn Balance Complex, which you can pick up at Supplement Superstores. I've been using it since it came out. It's fantastic. You notice right away the difference. Look, we all have busy schedules. I do and you do. You know, we all have problems sometimes with controlling our eating patterns and staying on a plan. Well, Burn Balance Complex makes that so much easier. It's not magic, but it definitely helps make it easier. It is a complete metabolism system. It's not just a fat burner. So what you're talking about is a natural weight loss option. So if you're a person that doesn't want to go get a prescription, you're not into injections, this is a great choice for you. In addition to the metabolism boost, you get to lower stress and cortisol levels, get better sleep. It can help control appetite and cravings, all-day focused energy with no jitters, no crash at the end of the day. If you want the help, and look, we all need it, I know I do, go to Supplement Superstores, tell them your story, mention Kevin Wheeler, and they'll knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex. You can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 7:10. Good morning. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterey, along with Brian Feldman and Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Debbie, it has been a very quiet morning. Absolutely nothing out of the ordinary out on the highways this morning. Northbound on Highway 270. You've got your normal volume northbound on Highway 50, north of 55, headed up through 44. Making your way past Doherty Ferry and Manchester Road, you had a heavier pocket there, but everything was running smoothly, as well as out in St. Charles County. Eastbound on Highway 64, eastbound on Highway 70, delay-free coming in to St. Louis County, crossing the Boone Bridge, the Blanchette Bridge, whichever bridge you choose there, eastbound 64, eastbound Highway 70, east and westbound 64 through the Central Corridor. We are delay-free. Don't even have that slowdown passing Forest Park on westbound 64, westbound on Highway 55, 64 into downtown St. Louis. Delay-free as well as Highway 70, westbound crossing the Musial. Our next traffic update at 7:20. Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, sunshine mixing with clouds today. Our high 92. Partly cloudy, warm and humid tonight, though 76. Times of sun and clouds tomorrow and quite humid. There can be a heavy thunderstorm in the area during the afternoon and evening hours, high 90. For Friday, clouds and sunshine and quite humid with a shower or two and even a thunderstorm, especially in the afternoon, the high 89. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
77 degrees right now downtown at the Arch.
I'm Joe Pott. We'll tell you about what happened at the All-Star Game last night. That's coming up in sports.
It is 7:11 and the Cyclospora outbreak. We're asking a local infectious disease expert about what warning signs to look for.
Mercy Infectious Diseases, Dr. Farron Mannion says people should thoroughly wash their hands and wash all raw fruits and vegetables to prevent infection. While the illness is hardly ever fatal, Mannion says you need to pay close attention to your symptoms.
If you do have any kind of diarrhea illness that goes on for more than, say, a day or two, which a lot of GI germs usually last only a day or two. But this particular germ, Cyclospora, can actually go on for days and weeks even.
Dr. Mannion says the parasite is hard to get rid of, but cooking produce will kill it, and frozen foods are generally considered safer. Investigators are currently taking patient diet histories to narrow down exactly which fresh produce could be causing the outbreak. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
As the explosive diarrhea-causing parasite spreads, is information from the CDC getting to local health officials fast enough?
Not according to St. Louis County Health Director Dr. Kanika Cunningham, who says federal cuts are slowing the information pipeline.
We're doing a great job at trying to communicate as best as we can, but we also can't act like these federal cuts does not impact us locally.
Cunningham says to her knowledge there have been no local cases. According to the Missouri Health Department, there have been 43 total cases statewide this year. It is not known at this time whether any of those cases are related to the current outbreak, but the health department says they are continuing to investigate. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Illinois health officials confirmed 216 cases of cyclosporiasis in their state, 18 hospitalizations so far. Cases jumped by 75 in just 1 week. Dr. Bethany Derfler with Northwestern Medicine says a home-cooked meal could help prevent contamination. Michigan, among the hardest hit states with more than 2,600 cases.
The sauerkraut diet is trending. People generally focus on fermented food and protein while cutting out sugar and processed foods.
Michelle Wilson is a registered dietitian with Brands Nutrition. She says there's a lot of benefits to sauerkraut.
I'm a huge fan of food versions of probiotics, and I think that that's going to be the main benefit that we see.
She says fermented foods are a great addition.
Probiotics are live active cultures, so we have these bacteria that help us break things down in our gut, and we can get those from fermented foods that have this good bacteria in them.
Yogurt is also a good choice, as is miso, kimchi, and pickles. But just don't go overboard.
Definitely don't want to go really, really intense with a new food because we don't know how our body is going to naturally react to that. But also as our gut bacteria is changing, then, we can have some GI distress as we adapt.
Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Well, it was All-Star Tuesday last night, the 96th Major League Baseball All-Star Game, to be specific, last night in Philadelphia. In the American League, they wasted no time in getting to NL starter Christopher Sanchez of the hometown Phillies. Yordan Alvarez started with a single, Shea Langoliers, and then Bobby Witt Jr. both walked. That brought Cody Bellinger of the Yankees to the plate.
And the American League has loaded the bases here in the first. And that gives Cody Bellinger an opportunity. Up the middle, and the American League catches in. Alvarez in to score. Langoliers right behind him. Two-run single, Cody Bellinger. And the American League gets to Sanchez here in the first.
That's Joe Davis on Fox. Fellow Yankee Ben Rice followed. He added on for the American League.
Hits it hard here, and that's through. The Yankees have knocked in three in this first inning. Wood is in to score. Bellinger and Rice with RBI hits. 3-0.
So it stayed 3-0 into the eighth inning when the White Sox Miguel Vargas came up against the Dodgers' Justin Robleski. That brings us to our cut of the game. Take a listen for Pete Crow Armstrong. He's got a little cameo right at the start of this one.
Oh, gosh. Wow, that ball is absolutely destroyed by Miguel Vargas into the second deck. Vargas, a first-time All-Star, one of the biggest surprises on the biggest surprise in the sport. And the Chicago White Sox tees off and makes it 4-0.
Well, there's your first extra base hit, Joe. Slider. He gets the head out, and it's a no-doubter.
That was PCA. He was doing a live hit right before that ball was hit. Our cut of the game is sponsored by The Diamond Shop, thediamondshop.net. That's how it would finish. 4-0 American League. In all, 11 AL pitchers shut out the National League on just 3 hits. It's the first time there's been a shutout in the All-Star game since the American League did it back in 2003. Cody Bellinger earns MVP honors for the AL side. He was presented the award by Hall of Famer Mike Schmidt, who asked him if he thought that first inning hit was going to stand up.
Not in the moment. As the game went on, like I just said, the pitching was just absolutely dominant. And they said, keep your jersey on just in case. So I was just watching the game.
Bellinger was also asked about the American League getting scoring so quickly, that is, against Sanchez, who had previously this season turned in a long scoreless streak.
Baseball is, one of the most unexplainable games there is. Sometimes it just doesn't make sense. And, the guys in front of me did a great job. They got on base, 2 outs. I'm up with the bases loaded, and I just tried to keep it simple. Bobby had a great at-bat in front of me, saw a lot of pitches. And, I got a good pitch to hit and try to put a good swing on it.
All 3 Cardinals who were there, they got into the game last night. Riley O'Brien threw a scoreless 3rd inning. He walked a batter, he hit a batter, and struck out a batter. Ivan Herrera grounded into a force out to end the 8th inning, facing the Blue Jays' Louis Varland. Jordan Walker saw some time in left field before striking out in his only plate appearance. That came in the 9th inning against Boston fireballer Aroldis Chapman. Now, most everyone gets the next 2 days off. That is except for the Mets and the Phillies. They'll play tomorrow night to resume the second half. The rest of baseball gets started on Friday. Next sports update comes up at 7:45. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
You feel it every time you check out. Prices up, paychecks stretched.
families squeezed. That's why Ann Wagner's fighting to get government off your back and out of your way. Wagner passed the largest tax cut in American history, expanded child tax credits, ended taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security. And Wagner is working to lower costs so families keep more of their hard-earned money. But Ann Wagner knows delivering for Missouri means more than just protecting their wallets. It means protecting our streets as well. That's why Wagner fought to secure our border, deport dangerous illegal aliens, partner with law enforcement, and put predators behind bars and off our streets so our neighborhoods and communities stay safe. Because real effective leadership protects what matters most: your money, your family, your safety. Ann Wagner for Congress.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-720-8444. 314-720-8444. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-720-8444.
As America celebrates its 250th anniversary, Steve Butts and everyone at Crawford Butts Insurance wish everyone a safe and joyful summer, proudly serving the community for generations. Happy 250th, America.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
At 7:20, we will check your weather forecast. I'll give you a hint. It's going to be pretty hot and humid this afternoon. However, we are going to start off finding out what our morning commute looks like with Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's not bad for drivers out there this morning. It had headed into North County, westbound on Highway 270, crossing the Chain of Rocks Bridge. We are delay-free all the way up to the Interbelt, westbound 5564, crossing the Poplar, delay-free as well into downtown St. Louis. Similar story, westbound Highway 70. The Musial Veterans Bridge looks good this morning. Northbound on Highway 270, not seeing any issues. North of 55, headed up towards 44, all the way to Highway 64. And eastbound Highway 70, eastbound on Highway 64, we are delay-free so far into St. Louis County from St. Charles County. It's been a great run so far this Wednesday morning. Our next traffic update at 7:30. Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
All right, weather-wise, it's going to be hot and humid today with sun and clouds, 92 degrees. Tomorrow, pretty much the same with a high of 90, but tomorrow a heavy thunderstorm around in the afternoon and evening. And then Friday, we could see a couple of showers and a thunderstorm also in the afternoon. Currently, it is sunny and 74 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
Expanding the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act, otherwise known as RECA, is proposed bipartisan legislation that is yet to be introduced, but several House members, including Missouri Congressman Wesley Bell, are talking it up.
The bill would expand geographic and medical eligibility for veterans and uranium workers affected by the U.S. nuclear weapons program. A staunch advocate for RECA and co-founder of Just Moms STL, Dawn Chapman, spoke with KMOX after the briefing.
The most important thing is that people know that this is just an amendment, and there's a lot that has to happen. It has not happened yet. And people need to be getting their documentation. They need to be applying for RECA as the law is currently written. Because unless something happens with this and it passes, people can only apply in Missouri under the current RECA extension, which was signed into law a year ago.
That's what I wanted to really emphasize to people. This would be wonderful if it happens, but as of right now, it is just talk, nothing else.
That's right. And it's good that we're talking about it, right? And I hope that people who have followed us can look at this and see that we listened, and that, but again, this is what we think should be in it. It is just talk. Congress and DOJ and the government, if this even goes anywhere, get to look it over and they get to pick it apart and pull things out they disagree with.
As someone who has covered this for a number of years, there is some ask in there that I don't think are feasible, that are realistic. Not saying that they shouldn't be. One of the things we're talking about is including prostate cancer in this.
Yeah, we see a horrendous amount of prostate cancer, and these stories are devastating. It's very aggressive, the ones we're seeing. You know, I don't disagree that it's caused by this and should be. I don't know if Congress is going to allow it. I don't know if Congress is going to agree, since the rates are already high for those that aren't exposed. But that is a very good example of one of the battles, just one within this. Again, it is right for people to list what's happened to them and the full harm, be on paper, and ask to be made right. I just want to make sure that people understand that this has not happened. This is almost just a wish list.
Dawn, now you've got a meeting coming up because you've been doing these regularly to kind of get people who might be a little uncertain about what they need in order to apply for the RECA that exists right now.
That is right. We are actually struggling. We are struggling making people understand what the law says now. And we are hosting in-person meetings. We have done several Zoom meetings. We have one at 6 o'clock at the Blackjack Fire Department in North County, where people can come and get help with applications, help with finding documents, help with just questions and emotional support, because people they need it. They need that one-on-one right now. So that's what we have going on tomorrow. But again, I think that this could cause a lot more people to show up because they think suddenly they're eligible. And we just want to emphasize they are not. There is nothing. You know, I think you heard a theme of misinformation. You heard that certainly with the advocates in New Mexico, right? Congressman Vasquez talk about that. Missouri is fighting misinformation as well. And there is nothing more heartbreaking than when somebody comes to us because they think they qualify and we have to show them that they don't. I cannot emphasize what it's like for somebody who is sick with cancer and devastated to get false hope and be told they don't. It is just horrible.
Well, not only do you know this firsthand through experience, actual experience, at this point it has to be hundreds of people that you have dealt with, Dawn, over the years.
It is. And, you know, these people, we believe, have all been harmed because there are limits, you know, to what the RECA bill that passed a year ago allows. We believe there's been more harm. It's just, you know, helping somebody get justice and seeing what that does, and then having somebody over here that deserves that same justice, that's received that same harm, and watching them not get it. It is very, very difficult. And you see that on the Facebook pages where people are like, I got approved today. And then you see all the comments. Some people, that makes them feel hopeful, right? Others, it feels like it's rubbing salt in a wound.
That informational meeting is tonight at 6 o'clock at the Blackjack Fire Department. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
It's 7:26. That time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
If you've been told that you need a new heating and cooling system for your home, and if you've gotten prices or you're going to get prices, call me. Try to stay away from the word high efficiency or efficiency. If you replace your system now and it's 12, 15, or 20 years old, you are greatly improving the efficiency just by replacing the old, inefficient unit. Do not be fooled. If you want a common sense approach and you just want your house cooled, I will help you. If you're good with that, call me. One easy number. It's Missouri and Illinois. The easiest of numbers, 314-293-2600. Or on the internet, bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
For decades, Morgan & Morgan has represented hundreds of thousands of people at their hour of need. Injuries on the job, car crashes, medical malpractice, and nursing home abuse, Social Security claims, dangerous drugs, and dangerous products. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason, and no firm is even close. Then we got to thinking, what if we could prevent these terrible events before they occurred? So we built the AI-powered People Protector. Simply visit peopleprotector.com and type in the product you have questions about before you buy it. Children's toys and accessories, cars, drugs, products, you name it, we got it. With our success, we decided to pay it forward for all of America. Our way of saying thank you for your trust all these years. Morgan & Morgan, protecting America. And if you've already been injured, just visit us at forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. You know, when you go to the Audiology Center, you'll see a doctor of audiology. And with us right now, Dr. Colleen Bosler. Dr. Bosler, what are some of the signs of hearing loss?
Well, it's a number of things. Sometimes loved ones notice a person asking others to repeat themselves, or the television is too loud. What people tend to notice first with hearing loss is the loss of clarity. They can hear people talking, but they cannot always understand what's being said. That's because the hearing loss can cause you to miss certain consonant sounds, and those consonant sounds give us the detail to the word. A hearing aid can help bring back those details and give you a sense of clarity that you're missing.
Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center with 3 locations in the greater St. Louis area. Call for an appointment, 636-441-7470. Online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
And the match is about to begin.
Most of the team is out with COVID-19, so there'll be some substitutes tonight.
What's this? We have an unexpected guest on the field.
It's a dog. Well, they could do with extra players.
She's going for the ball.
Are front paws hands or feet?
Soccer season is full of surprises, and COVID-19 could be one of them. If you test positive, prescription medications may help. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Learn more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
It is 7:30 and we have sunshine, 74 degrees right now in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Brian Feldman, and this is Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, MoDOT's reporting a stall northbound on Highway 270 at Gravois. Not seeing anything on the camera. Nothing's really slowing you down northbound on Highway 270 this morning. Headed up from 55 through 44 all the way up through a Big Bend. You're off the pace, a little more volume just between that Doherty Ferry and Manchester stretch. It's a short stretch, though, because you're back up to speed. Headed up towards Highway 64. Southbound 170 starting to fill in just a little bit right at 64, ramping on to 64 eastbound. We are delay-free passing Forest Park, westbound on 64, as well as delay-free into downtown St. Louis, westbound Highway 70 crossing the Mutual, and westbound Highway 5564 at the Poplar. Our next traffic update at 7:40, Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is going to be on the hot side this week and the humid side as well. Today, sun and clouds, hot, humid, 92 degrees, 76 overnight. And then tomorrow, pretty much the same with a high of 90, but a heavy thunderstorm around tomorrow afternoon and evening. Currently, it is 74 degrees with sunshine downtown.
It's 7:32. St. Louis County Executive Sam Page says the county council's new budget process is increasingly time-consuming and hurts government efficiency. Page says in order to obtain withheld funds, the council requiring all departments to fill out paperwork for funding transfers, no matter how small.
Instead of our employees spending time helping people who want to interact with county government and answering their questions, we're spending time finding the paperwork and the administrative time required to present transfer requests for as little as $25.
Page also says this is paperwork also causing delays in funding to services like tuberculosis treatment supplies at the county's health departments.
A St. Louis County councilman speaking out after he says a bomb threat was made last week against a mosque in West County. Councilman Dennis Hancock, a Republican running for county executive, said a threat was made against the Islamic Foundation off Weidman Road in Baldwin.
I don't know how to say this any stronger than to say this behavior is completely unacceptable and should not be tolerated by anyone who calls themselves an American.
Hancock says many of the mosque's members are U.S. citizens or are working to become citizens.
3 juveniles in custody and facing several charges in the fatal shooting of a 16-year-old girl this past Friday. It was in Jefferson County. In a release, Sheriff Dave Marshak says the investigation near Hillsboro revealed the victim, Gabriana Boyster's body, abandoned for hours in her home before being found on Saturday.
The first juvenile is charged with a number of things, but the other 2 are facing corpse abandonment charges. The first juvenile remains in custody. The other 2 have been released.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your money report next. It's 6/7/33.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Too many tools, too much stress, and way too many bills.
Odoo replaces it all. One connected platform for every part of your business, so you can work faster, smarter, and for less. Odoo, the only software you'll ever need. Try it free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
It is 7:35. Time to get you updated on your money report. That is sponsored for you by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Electric vehicle maker Lucid is working with restructuring advisors to turn around its struggling business. The company is also dismissing rumors that it's considering bankruptcy as, quote, completely false. Sources tell us Lucid is looking to cut costs and ensure the rollout of a new mid-size vehicle is successful. Checking on the markets, yesterday's consumer price report showed an unexpectedly sharp slowdown in inflation last month. This is taking pressure off the Fed to raise interest rates. Stocks are looking at gains this morning. S&P futures are rising 18 points, Dow futures gaining 110. And United Airlines plans to introduce a row of economy seats with extra elbow room and access to a shared table. United plans to offer the first domestic flights with the updated Economy Plus seating later this year and begin international service in 2027. This report is sponsored by Vanguard Investor Choice, a proxy voting program for eligible Vanguard index funds. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the Let's Revitalize Our Neighborhoods commitment. This is the Roll Up Our Sleeves and Pitch In commitment. This is Busey, where our commitment to strengthen our communities is a top priority. Through energetic, engaged volunteers, through monetary support, community leadership, and advocacy. Because Busey is more than a bank that does well, we're a bank that does good. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth, since 1868. Member FDIC.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
You know, sometimes I think, what are the best ways that I enjoy an ice-cold Budweiser? At a ball game, maybe out playing golf with friends. Maybe some of you go to the lake, you're out on the boat, you crack open an ice-cold Budweiser. What you're doing is you are continuing a tradition that goes back 150 years. That's when Budweiser was created right here in St. Louis. People enjoy that ice-cold, delicious lager all over the world. And it all started right here in 1876. Also going back to 1876 is Major League Baseball, and Budweiser is the official beer sponsor of Major League Baseball. Of course, 1776 is when America was founded, and we are celebrating our birthday, 250 years this summer, and Budweiser is celebrating as well with their patriotic cans as they celebrate America's birthday. For the last 150 years, the king of beers, Crack open a Bud. This Bud's for you.
Well, it's official. My friends have all switched to Pure Talk because I told them they could save a bunch of money on a super reliable high-speed network with unlimited data. And because they're my friends, they trust me. As for the rest of you, well, Pure Talk understands that even though you might like me, you're not just going to take my word for it, nor should you. For that reason, and for a very limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited plan that normally sells for $65 a month. Think of it like a test drive, a super simple way to save $150 while you kick the tires on Pure Talk's blazing fast network, and a fine way to see for yourself why I switched from Big Wireless, along with a few 100,000 of my closest friends. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and be connected to Pure Talk's friendly U.S. customer service team. Again, dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
Tomorrow night, it's City Soccer on KMOX. First up, Gen C's hosts a special soccer edition of Sports Open Line beginning at 6 from Energizer Park. Then, it's City SC facing Sporting KC. Pre-game 7:05, kick at 7:30. City Soccer on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
At 7:39, coming soon to a bookshelf near you, a new memoir by former President Joe Biden.
Former President Joe Biden talks about his decision to not run for re-election, among other topics, in a new memoir. The book is called Promise Me America, and Biden released a video to accompany his announcement.
It's about the challenges we face as a nation, about the decisions I made, and why I made them. Leading the country through COVID, rebuilding our economy, and restoring our democracy after the attack on January 6th. Ending our nation's longest war in Afghanistan, strengthening NATO, and supporting Ukraine. It's about why I chose to run for re-election and why I chose to step aside.
Promise Me America will be released November 17th. Donna Water, Washington.
It is 7:40 and time to check in with Frank Ladd, who's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we've got some delays now from about Highway A, southbound on Highway 61, headed towards the Wentzville interchange with Highway 64 and the merge onto Highway 70. So you got a little bit of volume through that stretch in Wentzville. Headed east of there, eastbound on 64, not seeing any delays through St. Charles County up to St. Louis County. We do have pockets of volume in the central corridor that are busier than they had been. Eastbound on Highway 64 now between McKnight and Big Bend. You're on the brakes in a couple pockets there. Westbound Highway 64, you're heavy passing Forest Park at about the Tam Avenue overpass, headed out to McCausland. Reports of a crash southbound on Highway 170 just before Highway 64. Not seeing anything out of the ordinary there on the cameras, but we do have that normal pocket of volume approaching Highway 64 on southbound 170. Northbound on Highway 270, a little more volume now between Big Bend, Doherty Ferry, and Manchester Road. This traffic update is sponsored by Hoff Heating and AC. Our next update at 7:50, Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
For dependable, no-pressure home comfort solutions, turn to Huff Heating and Air Conditioning. Locally owned and family-operated for over 40 years. Our team will work with you on a plan that fits your home's needs with financing available. And as always, your family's comfort is our family's business. Learn more at huffheating.com.
At 7:41, we need to check our weather forecast with meteorologist Joe Lundberg. And Joe, at the very least, we don't have any rain for at least one more day. I guess that's a positive.
One more. Yeah, it's going to be toasty this afternoon, the hottest that we've been in a several-day period, with a high getting into the low 90s. Sunshine will mix with clouds and kind of a hazy sun at that. And then tonight will be partly cloudy, mid-70s, a mix of sun and clouds tomorrow and quite humid. And that added moisture and a disturbance approaching from the south and east means a pretty good chance for a heavy thunderstorm in the afternoon and evening, a high about 90. Clouds and sunshine, a very humid end of the week on Friday. Best chance of seeing some showers and a thunderstorm, especially in the afternoon, the high 89. Saturday, partly sunny skies. It'll be very humid, the high 92. I can't rule out a thunderstorm. It's most likely to the east of the city. Sunday looks sunnier with a high of 93. It's already 76 at St. Peter's, 78 in Florissant, and with that sunshine, it's 78 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Ins and outs coming up straight ahead in sports.
It is now 7:43. People trying to get ahead in their careers are hitting some roadblocks right now. We get more from KMOX's Megan Lynch.
Career accelerator Wrong for Women is seeing some shifts.
Shifts in the federal government, obviously, the adoption of AI starting to really impact really entry-level jobs that we're seeing. So, management, middle management, those with experience are still surviving kind of this AI influx.
Wrong President and CEO Leslie Gill tells Total Information AM one key is working on the soft skills that make employees valuable and resilient. Wrong is getting set to welcome its latest cohort of women to get that kind of career coaching. The deadline to apply, July 20th.
Business owners feeling a little better about things, at least according to the new NFIB Small Business Optimism Index, which picked up in June. Up more than 2 points, it's nearing the 52-year average now, with real sales and expectations improving, according to NFIB Chief Economist Bill Dunkelberg. Lower fuel prices gave relief to businesses as well as consumers, but higher costs across the board have business owners treading lightly.
One person died in a crash Tuesday night on eastbound I-64 near 270. The Missouri Highway Patrol says it happened just before 7. Troopers reporting that the driver of a car going the wrong way was killed when it struck another vehicle.
Secretary of Homeland Security Mark Wayne Mullen reported to having told ICE agents to scale back vehicle stops in the wake of deadly shootings. Here's former Assistant DHS Secretary and ABC News contributor John Cohen speaking with ABC News.
As somebody who's been involved in hundreds, if not thousands, of vehicle stops throughout my career as a uniformed police officer, as an undercover police officer, and having reviewed a number of these videos, the tactics and techniques that are being used by ICE and CBP are not what I would describe as accepted practice. They're dangerous.
It is 7:45.
The Ins and Outs are sponsored by Innsbrook Resort, where every day is the weekend. Last night, 11 pitchers combined to toss a 3-hit shutout in the All-Star game, and it was the first in the All-Star game since 2003. The AL did it then as well. Riley O'Brien threw a scoreless third inning, walking a batter, hitting a batter, and striking out a batter. Ivan Herrera grounded into a force-out to end the 8th inning. He was facing Blue Jays' Louis Varland. And Jordan Walker saw some time in the outfield before striking out in his only plate appearance in the 9th inning against Boston fireballer Aroldis Chapman. Almost all of baseball now gets the next 2 days off. The Mets and Phillies will open the second half of the season Thursday. The Cards will resume the season Friday on the road out west. They'll play a 3-game set at Arizona before heading to Anaheim to face the Angels in a 3-game series. In all, the Redbirds will play a stretch of 20 consecutive games before the next off day comes August 6th. Well, Spain earned its spot in the World Cup final yesterday, ousting former champion France 2-0 in Dallas. Both teams finished with 10 shots. Spain took the lead on a penalty in the 22nd minute and then added on in the 58th.
Olmo, the return, Pedro Porro!
John Strong on Fox Sports. Spain will face either England or defending champs Argentina in the World Cup final. Those two nations will meet in the second semifinal. That is set for today at 2 p.m. England is your favorite today at -125. Harry Kane always has a good chance to find the back of the net. He's +165 to score a goal in the game, and that's your parlay of the day. It's sponsored by Circa Sports, sports betting the way it should be. St. Louis City faces Sporting KC Thursday night at Energizer Park. Jen Cease explains why City believes it's in a good place as the second half gets underway.
St. Louis City SC believes it found its identity before the World Cup break. Now the challenge is building on it. Center back Timo Baumgartel says the club wants to build on the progress it made before the break.
At the end of the first half, we had some good games. We won a lot. We were successful. So we want to just continue with that.
Baumgartel says the goal isn't simply to repeat what City did in May. He wants the team to be even better.
We want to be more aggressive, also press a little bit more. We just want to develop in these principles, want to get more points. I think all the fans would be happy if we win our game on Thursday.
Due to yellow card accumulation, midfielder Chris Durkin will miss Thursday's match, but Tomas Ostrak is back in full training, and head coach Yoann Demey may push his attacking qualities higher up the pitch. Be sure to join us for a special edition of KMOX Sports Open Line live from Energizer Park on Thursday at 6 p.m. Joining me will be Bill McDermott, Ty Keogh, and Brad Davis to talk World Cup soccer and more. Then catch our City pregame show at 7 on KMOX and Y98 before kickoff against rival Sporting KC at 7:45. Jen Cease, KMOX Sports.
And I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's Tom Ackerman. I love hearing when people say that they went to Innsbruck for the first time and it exceeded their expectations. That makes me happy because it's absolutely true. You can hear us talk about Innsbruck, but when you actually go and visit, you're going to be blown away. The golf course, the lakes, 100 of them, the hiking trails, so many, you couldn't cover them all. 7,500 acres of beautiful Missouri forest, and right in there in Warren County, easy to get to, close to home, wildlife. It's got it all. It's Innsbruck. Plus, the homes are stunning. You can rent. You can eventually buy. Check it all out at innsbruck-resort.com. You'll be very happy that you did. I'm pleased to talk about it every chance I get. Innsbruck-resort.com. We like to say every day is the weekend at Innsbruck, and that is absolutely true. Innsbruck Resort.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circa Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. For everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circa Sports app, then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circa Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
What do parents think of back to school at Staples, where supplies start at just 25 cents?
Staples has the latest laptops with up to 40% savings.
I may hug the cashier.
So embarrassing.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's a wonderful time at Staples with up to 40% off select tech. Staples.
That was easy.
Visit Staples today or shop online and in the app. Ends 9/12. Exclusions apply.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX. Total Information AM, Debbie Monterey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
At 7:50, we need to check the roadways with Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brian, we're seeing pockets of volume now southbound on Highway 61 starting at Flint Hill, headed up towards Wenzel. Not stop and go on that stretch, but certainly heavier than it had been so far this morning. Eastbound Highway 70, it's a good run through St. Charles County towards the Blanchette Bridge, in towards Highway 270 as well. Busy southbound on 170 approaching Highway 64. That left lane is the heaviest pocket there, starting at the Galleria Parkway, making your way towards 64 into eastbound 64. Northbound on Highway 270, volume starting to fill in just a little bit now between 44 and Manchester Road. You've got a stop and go stretch at Big Bend. Westbound on Highway 64, not bad passing Forest Park this morning. Make your way out to McCausland. Our next traffic update at 7:58. Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is going to be hot the rest of this week, so no relief there, but no storms in the forecast until tomorrow afternoon and maybe Friday afternoon. Those are the only 2 storm days of this 5-day forecast. Today is going to be sun and clouds with a high of 92. And then tomorrow, sun and clouds with a high of 90 with some heavy thunderstorms moving in the afternoon. Currently, it is 76 degrees downtown.
The news continues at 7:51. At least 31 states now have reported cases of cyclospora linked to salad greens and lettuce. It's spread through food and water contaminated with feces.
Dozens of people have already been hospitalized. Dr. Ryan Stanton, president-elect of American College of Physicians, says this can be very serious, especially because we were seeing up to 20 times the normal cases.
Those with chronic medical conditions, the elderly, those that are prone to dehydration, and now we're dealing with this during the hottest months of the year when we have higher risk of dehydration anyway, and then you combine that with a lot of people traveling, the World Cup, America 250, a lot of reasons people can be spreading this infection. And anytime you have a doctor that's on TV talking about explosive diarrhea, it is not a good time to be going out and about and having that fresh salad.
Stanton tells CNN the key is prevention, and if you become ill, treatment with antibiotics. If not, it can bounce back and forth for weeks. You can still eat salads, but make sure the lettuce and greens are thoroughly washed before consuming. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
And Missouri drivers could soon see higher speed limits on some rural interstates and freeways under a new state law.
Governor Mike Keogh signed legislation allowing speed limits on certain rural interstates and freeways to increase from 70 to 75 miles per hour. The bill was sponsored by Southeast Missouri Republican Senator Jamie Berger, who says the change is limited to rural stretches of highway.
Wherever it's listed as 70 mile an hour now in the rural parts of the interstate, not the metro part, just the rural parts. Where it says 70, we would go to 75. That's it. Nowhere else.
It's now up to Missouri transportation officials to decide where the higher speed limit will be posted. Matt Pilger, Missouri Net.
It's just a matter of days before gas prices start increasing in our region. That's according to Patrick Dehan, petroleum analyst at GasBuddy.
Prices have started to perk up in the last week. We're still about 16 cents lower nationally than we were a month ago. A month ago, the national average was just a fraction of a penny under the $4 a gallon mark. Today, we're at $3.84, but more concerning, well, after 8 weeks of decline, we are now swinging the other way.
Dehan expects we'll see a bit of a jolt here in our region, and he tells KMOX's Chris and Amy gas prices rose 9% Monday, and that means you'll see it soon.
Under our bill, Congress would have the opportunity to hold hearings, offer amendments, debate competing proposals, and ultimately vote on them.
Illinois Senator Dick Durbin introducing legislation called the Promise Act to try and save Social Security before it's too late.
You say at this point, okay, Senator Durbin, what is this plan to save Social Security? That's the beauty of this proposal. We create an opportunity for alternative plans to be offered. And the one with the most votes, as long as it gets 60 votes in the Senate, the one with the most votes will prevail and be the work product of the Senate on Social Security.
Durbin says his bipartisan bill may not have the needed 60 votes in the Senate, but at least it guarantees American people through their elected representatives that there will be an open, transparent debate.
The Mega Millions jackpot, the highest it's been in several months. And after no one matched all 6 numbers needed to secure the jackpot, that number's gone higher. The next drawing, Friday, with an estimated jackpot of $672 million. As a reminder, Mega Millions tickets are $5. The odds of winning, 1 in 290 million. But the odds of winning any prize, just 1 in 24.
Well, if you want to celebrate something today, it is National Hot Dog Day. Steve's Hot Dogs combining that with its 18th anniversary celebration. Part of the celebration today on South Grand and at the Hub at the District is customer appreciation throwback pricing, $2 off all classic menu hot dogs. There's also celebrity collaborations available today, including the Rennie Knott dog. So if you're into that, I think it's a pretzel bun and burger crumbles and something else. Anyway, happy National Hot Dog Day. It's 7:56.
It's Tom Ackerman. Gamma Tree Experts goes back to 1954 when Frank Gamma started the business with a pickup truck and hand tools. Today, Frank's sons, Tim and Tom Gamma, carry the business on, and they do a marvelous job. They have an incredible team that will trim trees, that will look at damage and assess it and clean it out, that will do an assortment of treatments for trees that need it. All throughout the St. Louis area, we have trees of all shapes, sizes, and types, and Gamma Tree Experts knows them all. Whether it's home, business, or municipal needs, Gamma Tree Experts can help your home, business, or municipality. It is Gamma Tree Experts, the genuine, the original. Go online at gammatree.com. You can read all about their services. Give them a call, have them come over and consult you. I can't recommend them enough. They are the tree company in St. Louis. They are Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, It can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. SuperSure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
When pain starts to slow you down, BJC Healthcare and WashU Medicine orthopedic specialists are here to help. Nationally recognized leaders in orthopedics deliver care that's informed by research and personalized for you. From everyday aches to complex injuries and recovery, we're here to help you get back to doing what you love. Find an orthopedic specialist today. Visit bjc.org/orthopedics or call 314-362-9355.
Let's check in with Frank Ladd. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Debbie, it continues to be a very quiet morning. Just your normal pockets of volume out there today, and some of it is actually lighter than normal. Still seeing your normal delays into downtown St. Louis, just ramping onto the Poplar Street Bridge, but not bad. Certainly not stop and go in that stretch into downtown, westbound 5564. Similar story westbound on Highway 70, crossing the Musial. You are wide open this morning. Northbound on Highway 270, a pocket of volume at Highway 44. A little off the pace as well near Doherty Ferry, headed up towards Manchester Road, but north of there, great run towards Highway 64. Southbound 170, you've got your normal pocket of volume approaching Highway 64. You're busy in the Central Corridor, eastbound on Highway 64 from about Lindbergh up to Big Bend. Our next traffic update at 8:10, Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Wednesday, the 15th of July. I'm Debbie Monterey, and coming up in the next hour of Total Information AM with Megan Lynch, the St. Louis Sports Commission now has a seed fund to help attract more events to the region. President Mark Schreiber is in after the news. Is frozen produce safe? Which produce should you completely avoid? Michael Calhoun gets answers about the parasite triggering stomach ailments across the country. And travel writer Bill Cleveland tells us about a quick Midwest trip that you could get in before school starts again. That's all on the way.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. Daytime airstrikes on Iran, the first since the first 40 days of the war, carried out this morning by U.S. forces. CENTCOM says they hit cruise missile storage and launch sites and coastal defense systems. Searches in San Francisco Bay for 3 people still missing after a boat went down overnight near Alcatraz. ABC's Trevor Ault.
Coast Guard racing to the scene, but by the time they arrived, the bottom 2 levels of that 3-level cruiser were underwater. It's unclear if anyone was wearing a life vest. 1 passenger rushed to shore was later pronounced dead. 13 passengers were safely rescued. 3 people were taken to the hospital with injuries.
President Trump saying this morning that ICE cannot suspend using traffic stops. Even after a pair of deadly incidents, officials had put them on pause for more training. Todd Blanche faces questions at his Senate Judiciary Committee confirmation hearing to move up from acting attorney general to getting the job permanently. This is ABC News. Police explain why they arrested a man for something they say happened on July 4th in St. Johns County, Florida on I-95.
Deputies pulling over the suspected vehicle.
Report observer is this vehicle was seen launching fireworks out of the passenger side of the vehicle.
But deputies informing the people inside that vehicle that they were caught on camera from above.
That's a helicopter who's been following you for the past 10 miles. Shoot stuff out the car.
The passenger of the vehicle then placed under arrest.
ABC's Gio Benitez. Evidence shows a new malaria vaccine in Africa is helping reduce cases, but officials are concerned that not everybody's getting the 4th and final booster. Today is the second semifinal in the World Cup. Defending champs Argentina facing England this after Spain beat France. Games in Atlanta, 3 p.m. Eastern. It's Wednesday, July 15th. Tonight, if it's clear where you are, you'll be able to see in the southern sky the Milky Way's glowing core. Chuck Severson, ABC News.
At 8:02, we have sunny skies, 76 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Wednesday, July 15th. I'm Megan Lynch. St. Louis County Council members last night approved about $2.4 million in mid-year budget transfers for the courts, human services, and public works. But they held back nearly $960,000 for the health department, the same agency whose funding fight ate up weeks of the council's summer. Budget Chair Shalonda Webb opened the meeting accusing Executive Sam Page of trying to derail that work.
It is unfortunate that we've had conversation shared from the county executive that will try to deter from this process, but we are committed to our fiscal responsibility.
Page responded later.
The people of St. Louis County deserve a government that spends its time solving problems, not creating new ones. They deserve leaders who focus on the big challenges instead of getting stuck fighting over the smallest pieces of the budget.
Webb says she's now working to schedule an actual budget meeting with the health department before the end of July. The Madison County Board expected to vote tonight to consider placing 3 non-binding referenda on the November ballot. One asks if the Illinois General Assembly should pass a law requiring government issue identification to vote. The second asks if state lawmakers should restore zoning control of wind and solar farms to local government. The third involves Illinois placing a property tax cap at 1% of assessed value. A 16-year-old now facing murder charges as an adult after a weekend shooting rampage in East St. Louis. Prosecutors have indicted Jamir Davis on a dozen counts after a string of shootings across 3 separate crime scenes left 5 people dead and 2 others wounded. A 15-year-old also in custody. Pastor Mary Young knows some of the people involved. She spoke with Fox 2.
People, please. Train up your children. I know they've been trained good, but a lot of times they get influenced by other children or whatever the case may be. This should not be.
We're told prosecutors are pushing to move that second teen to adult court as well. Police have not yet released a motive. We're awaiting more details from St. Louis City Police on an overnight homicide case in the Kingsway West neighborhood. Officers say a man was shot dead outside a gas station in the 1600 block of Union Boulevard just prior to 4 this morning. That's north of Martin Luther King Drive. Lots of evidence markers could be seen around a white Toyota vehicle. A St. Louis County councilman wants his colleagues to speak up after a threat was made against a Baldwin Mosque last week. Councilman Dennis Hancock, a Republican candidate for county executive, raised it during last night's council meeting, calling it an attack on a constitutional right.
To have someone do this and threaten the lives of innocent women, children, and men who are simply going to a house of worship to worship as they choose, which is their right under the United States Constitution. For someone to threaten that should be condemned in the strongest language possible.
Hancock says many of the mosque's members fled instability in their home countries for a better life. A proposal to expand the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act, commonly called RECA, proposes adding medical eligibility for downwinders, veterans, and uranium workers affected by the U.S. nuclear weapons program.
It's a big ask. And the bipartisan legislation is essentially an amendment to the existing RECA legislation. And Dawn Chapman, co-founder STL Moms, adds the biggest hurdle is being able to keep RECA in some form.
The last date for you to apply for RECA is going to be December 31st, 2027, and then there'll be a full year for them to process those claims, and then RECA officially expires, ceases to exist December 31st, 2028.
This new RECA amendment, which has not been submitted yet, is asking for a 15-year extension, something many in Congress may not want to support. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
And Chapman is hosting an informational meeting for residents dealing with RECA at the Blackjack Fire Department this evening at 6 p.m. Several people in the president's cabinet loading up on sauerkraut to lose weight and improve gut health.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said he lost 20 pounds eating only fermented foods and protein. We asked a registered dietitian about that popular diet.
I think it is an excellent conversation starter.
Okay, great.
There's definitely a lot behind the benefits of sauerkraut. I'm a huge fan of food versions of probiotics, and I think that that's going to be the main benefit that we see.
Michelle Wilson is a registered dietitian with Brands Nutrition.
So sauerkraut and a protein, that's going to be missing a lot of our main carbs and fats. And then, as I've said before, fat-soluble vitamins can't be absorbed, so vitamins A, A, D, E, and K are not as bioavailable if you're not getting enough fat intake to absorb those things. But also it's just having, that good variety to allow us to feel full and satisfied as well. So if you're just eating protein and sauerkraut, it's probably not going to be very filling and satisfying because of not only the macronutrients missing from there, so those main the starches and fats that could be missing, but also the micronutrient variation of having more things than just sauerkraut to have.
She says other fermented food that will improve gut health include miso, kimchi, pickles, even sourdough bread. But don't go full board on fermented food.
Definitely don't want to go really, really intense with a new food because we don't know how our body's going to naturally react to that. But also as our gut bacteria is changing, then, we can have some GI distress as we adapt. So we need to give our body a little bit of time to adapt.
Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
It's now 8:08, traffic and weather in 2 minutes.
And Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
8:10. It's time to check the roads with Frank Ladd. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning, Megan. Working with a crash now in Illinois. It's westbound on Highway 55, southbound 55, between the 255 merge and Illinois 111. Reportedly, vehicles on the right shoulder as well as the left shoulder. And that's in that road construction stretch there between 255 and 111 on southbound 55. So it could be an issue getting around that scene, but they say they're on the shoulder. So just pay attention coming through that stretch headed towards downtown. If you are headed towards downtown St. Louis, westbound 5564 is just off the pace now from the King Bridge split, headed up towards the Poplar Street Bridge, coming around that bend there, headed towards downtown. Northbound on 270 this morning, we are delay-free now between 55 and 44, just a little off the pace now between 44 and Manchester Road. Coming in from out west, eastbound Highway 64, eastbound on Highway 70, delay-free as well from St. Charles County to St. Louis County. Our next traffic update at 8:20. I'm Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sunshine mixing with clouds today. It'll be rather hot and humid this afternoon, high 92, then partly cloudy, warm and muggy tonight, low 76. A mix of sun and clouds tomorrow and very humid. Watch out for a heavy thunderstorm in the afternoon and evening, the high 90. Clouds and sun and quite humid on Friday with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm in the area, mainly in the afternoon, the high 89. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Sunny skies this morning. We have 78 degrees in Florissant. It's 78 in St. Peter, 76 downtown at the Arch. You're listening to Total Information AM here on 104.1 FM KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. In May, we told you about a push to use a piece of the city's Rams settlement toward efforts to recruit future sporting events. That's now been finalized. The settlement bill allocates $2.5 million to support recruitment of sporting events to the city of St. Louis. And to follow up, I'm joined by Mark Schreiber, president of the St. Louis Sports Commission, with me in studio this morning. Good morning.
Hi, Megan. Great to be with you.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Of course.
Tell us first off how the Sports Commission has traditionally been funded, because I think people are surprised when they find out.
Exactly. We're a privately funded organization. It's very much the business community here that provides our funding sources, that combined with the revenue that we're able to make off of events, which isn't a whole lot because it's such a competitive process. But you know, since our founding in 1989, it's been a privately funded organization.
Give us a sense of the economic impact that the Sports Commission does have, not only on the city of St. Louis, but the region.
Yeah. Over the existence of the organization, 37 years, it's $1 billion in economic impact in terms of the events the Sports Commission has been responsible for bringing to the region. And I think even if you just look at the city of St. Louis, the tax revenue, sales tax revenue generated by the organization, probably in the ballpark of $30 million or so.
How competitive is it when cities are bidding on some of these major college and professional events?
Extremely competitive. So many communities have identified and realized the value of bringing major events to their communities. And I think the best way to articulate that is that when we first bid on the NCAA wrestling championships back for 2000, there were maybe 3 cities in the mix for the event. Now, when we're going after an event like the Division I Women's Volleyball Championship, they'll be 2 years up for bid, and we'll be up against 15 other cities. So that gives you a sense of the competition. And so many of them rely on and utilize public resources because those communities realize the benefits and want to invest in this sector because it's so lucrative for them.
Now, I know there was a lot of debate over how the money for the Rams settlement was going to be used. $2.5 million coming to the Sports Commission, which overall is just a drop in the bucket compared to the money that was there. But, you know, for people listening that know there are many other needs, how do you justify asking for that money for the Sports Commission?
Yeah, and, it's a great start. You say drop in the bucket, but a great start. And I give the Board of Aldermen a lot of credit because, no one was going to be happy. Everybody wanted more. We wanted more. But under the circumstances, there was great compromise and consensus. In terms of, your question, I go back to that return on investment and just what it does to lift up our region and the need for vibrancy and activity. And when we have an event like the U.S. Figure Skating Championships or the Frozen Four, the men's basketball tournament, and what it does to energize our region economically, but also that psyche of the pride it instills and the exposure that it provides St. Louis. We have people come to the region not familiar with St. Louis. They leave here having a great experience and they go tell that story. All those factors add up to being things we so desperately need in our region to move us forward and generate economic activity and economic development. And, at the end of the day, it's that return on investment that what we can do with that $2.5 million and have it be a seed for an event attraction fund, there's so much more we can generate in return for the city and the entire region.
I know there's still some things to be determined as to how that will be used, but overall, what will be the structure of how this money will be employed and how you kind of keep that fund rolling?
Yeah, the concept is that when we move forward with a bid, that we need to have a rights fee or a guarantee or need to bridge a financial gap. We dip into that fund, we pull that money out, and then the event comes through, the sales tax revenue generated from that event, a portion of that sales tax revenue goes back in to refill the fund. And the beauty of that is it's sustainable. It will always be there. So this one-time $2.5 million allocation is going to be something we can utilize for years down the road. And I like to think of it as a very innovative program. It puts us in the lead, puts us ahead of other cities, and that's what we really need in this moment.
So give us a sense, maybe a tease of what you've got coming up in the bid process, what you're waiting on, what we can expect maybe over the next year or two here in St. Louis.
The biggest thing we're working on the moment is the 2031 Rugby World Cup. We hear the talk about the Soccer World Cup, and this wouldn't be necessarily at that level, but still huge. One of the biggest international sporting events we could do. For the biggest one we'd have probably since the 1904 Olympics here in St. Louis. The bid's due August 31st, so the timing of this is great. And then we're about to embark on the next cycle of the NCAA championships. So bidding on the women's volleyball championship, the wrestling championships again, Frozen Four, men's and women's basketball, on and on. So we really needed this event attraction fund to come through in this moment because there's so much ahead that we're bidding on. We're also trying to get the U.S. Figure Skating Championships back for 2030, the next Winter Olympic year.
Yeah, that was a great event this last year. When people might be surprised at how much you're always working on. I mean, how far out are you planning to try to attract these events?
Yeah, 31 is the big target because I mentioned the Rugby World Cup. There's also the Women's World Cup that year, which we're in the mix for as well. So it can be 5-7 years. I always say when we did the men's Final Four in 2005, it was awarded to St. Louis in 1998. So there was a 7-year period of preparation. Sometimes, you have far less runway. When we got the figure skating championships, we had a year to get ready. It was a little too close for comfort. So it's anything between that and multiple years in advance. But we really are looking at, the St. Louis sports scene landscape picture many years ahead and trying to figure out how we best put together a package that does the best job of fueling the St. Louis economy, helping to be a piece of that and doing things that are really going to excite the region, our residents, and, make that picture come about perfectly.
Well, Mark, thank you so much for coming on and explaining how this bid seed fund is going to work. Appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you, Megan. Always great to be with you.
That is Mark Schreiber. He's president of the St. Louis Sports Commission, joining us this morning here on KMOX. Let's get another update on the roads for you this morning as you head into work. Frank Ladd is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, this update is brought to you by i3 Broadband. We are seeing delays now southbound on Highway 55, starting at 255, making your way up to an accident that's midway between 255 and Illinois 111. At last check, IDOT was reporting that the accident was on the right shoulder as well as the left shoulder. 2 vehicles involved in this one. Headed northbound on Highway 270 this morning, continues to thin out north of Highway 55, headed up towards 44. Still essentially delay-free, just a little bit of volume north of there between Doherty Ferry and Manchester Road. Southbound 170, you've got your normal pocket of volume approaching Highway 64. 64 eastbound is busy between the Clayton-Warson overpass and about Big Bend. Westbound 64 is not bad, making your way past Forest Park. Summer celebrations are here, and i3 Broadband keeps you connected. Head over to i3broadband.com/radio today or call 1-866-806-5485 to upgrade today, because life runs better on fiber, and i3 Broadband is here for you. Our next traffic update at 8:30. Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Listen up. If you have not paid self-employment, business, or individual taxes in years, the IRS will find you. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. I offer real solutions. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120 or visit LanceDruryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Well, as we continue on KMOX, you may be wondering what kind of decisions should you be making about what's on your plate given the outbreak of cyclospora that we've seen across the country. Let's go to Mercy right now and talk with infectious diseases Dr. Farron Mannion from Mercy. Thank you so much for being with us this morning, Dr. Mannion.
Happy to be here.
So tell us what we need to know. Is this, one type of produce from one source? How is this making its way to people's meals?
Well, the current outbreak, of course, is kind of under investigation. So we don't really know for sure exactly what the source is, although based on the previous outbreaks, over the years, fresh produce has always been implicated. Certainly the cases that we see in the U.S., majority are from imported fresh produce, whether it's vegetables or, fruits like raspberries.
Is there a difference when people are deciding between, the type of product you have to pick up and get a bag and bag it yourself? The pre-made salad bags, a lot of people are cautious of those. And, of course, there's frozen produce as well. That, I would assume, is more safe. But can you kind of break down the different offerings and what the difference might be?
The unfortunate thing about this germ is that it is really hard to kill unless you heat it. So you basically have to cook a product before you can be sure that it's all gone. So even the usual disinfection, with low concentrations of bleach, it will not kill it. So basically, it could be any kind of a fresh product that you cannot cook that may be contaminated. Now, even the prepackaged fresh products like lettuce, even those that they said that they've already been washed, may potentially still be contaminated. If you cook it, then you don't have to worry about acquiring this germ. And we really haven't seen very many outbreaks. I'm not aware of any outbreaks associated with frozen products or frozen produce because this germ really doesn't like the cold. So if you do have fresh product produce, it's best to have it in the refrigerator as well.
We talk about, trying to figure out where this came from and the route that these products have gone. Is there any kind of a seed-to-shelf tracking system, any kind of coordination? Is there a clearinghouse that investigators can go to find out the source for these things?
Yeah, so honestly, the first thing that you have to do is to get a diet history of those who actually have this disease, because right now we need to do what we call epidemiological studies. So we get information from all the people as many people as you can who have this infection and say, hey, what did you eat, in the last, say, 2 days or 2 weeks, and then see if there's any kind of a common product that stands out.
What is your bottom line advice? Any foods to avoid? You mentioned washing. What should people take away from this?
Yeah, honestly, I think the first thing I would do is make sure that people are not panicking because this is an intestinal germ. And fortunately, it is not, fatal like some of the other intestinal germs might be. So I would say don't panic, but you can do things to reduce your risk of getting this intestinal infection, which can be obviously associated with diarrhea and a lot of GI symptoms for days and sometimes weeks. If you do have any kind of diarrhea illness that goes on for more than, say, a day or two, which a lot of, GI germs usually last only a day or two, but this particular germ, cyclospora, can actually go on for days and weeks even. If there is any kind of a protracted diarrhea, then I think you should really seek medical help and see if you can get appropriate testing to rule out this infection.
Dr. Farron Mannion, infectious diseases doctor with Mercy. Thank you so much for getting us this great information here on KMOX. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you, Michael. Coming up on Total Information AM, the conflict between the U.S. and Iran is escalating. We're going to have a special report from the Associated Press at the bottom of the hour. It's now 8:27, and this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
There's an old joke about Uncle Sam's new tax short form. The first line says, "How much did you make?" The next line says, "Send it in." Really? Not that funny, but that's what a lot of people do in retirement. They take money out of their 401k or IRA and end up sending it in when they pay taxes. Steve All of the All Financial Group invites you to take their tax challenge. What if your current plan included thousands of dollars in unnecessary taxes and fees? Or maybe higher Medicare premiums or a lower Social Security check? What if the savings you realized could allow you to retire early? Wouldn't you want to know about that right now? Take the All Financial Group Tax Challenge and find out. There's no charge. Call Steve today at 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at Amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Let's take a break.
Good idea.
Hey, Tom, what are you doing on that Amendment 4?
You know we fought for our freedom and rights. I'm not giving them away without a fight.
4 takes them?
That's exactly what 4 does. For over 100 years, Missouri voters have used our constitutional power to act when the politicians refused. I'll be darned if I'm voting to pass on less freedom and power to my kids.
And doesn't 4 kill majority rule?
Yep, creates minority rule, where just 5% of statewide voters in one district can block any citizen-led reform, making it nearly impossible to pass citizen-led ballot measures.
That's just dumb.
And when the politicians refuse to act, we've used citizen-led ballot measures to pass some big stuff, like lobbyist reforms, term limits for career politicians, and outlawing tax hikes without voter approval.
I'm not surrendering my power and rights to a bunch of politicians and lobbyists. I'm no on Amendment 4.
Hard no on 4.
Pay 4 buttons or inch per governance.
8:30. Let's get the latest on the roads for you with Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And this update is brought to you by Huff Heating and AC. Still seeing delays in the Metro East, southbound on Highway 55, approaching an earlier accident between 255 and Illinois 111. Just that pocket of volume there. And it is in that road construction zone, so you could be off the pace through that stretch as well, passing 111. Into downtown St. Louis, we've completely thinned out now. Westbound 5564 crossing the Poplar. Thinned out as well, northbound on Highway 50, 270, I should say, between 55 and 44, all the way up through to Manchester Road, a little off the pace at the Clayton Road overpass. Southbound 170, not bad, headed towards 64, just busy ramping on to eastbound 64. Our next traffic update at 8:40, Frank Ladd, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
For dependable, no-pressure home comfort solutions, turn to Huff Heating and Air Conditioning. Locally owned and family-operated for over 40 years. Our team will work with you on a plan that fits your home's needs with financing available. And as always, your family's comfort is our family's business. Learn more at huffheating.com.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, it looks like we'll have sunshine to start, mixed with clouds, hot and humid this afternoon, a high of 92. Partly cloudy, warm and humid tonight with an overnight low of 76. And then a mix of sun and clouds and humid tomorrow. Thunderstorms possible in the afternoon and evening with a high of 90. Right now we have sunshine, 80 degrees downtown at the Arch. Days of back and forth strikes by the U.S. and Iran across the Middle East and renewed threats to the waterway crucial to global energy supplies have shredded the interim deal to end the conflict. The region could tip back into an all-out war. The U.S. reimposed a naval blockade on Iran and intensified its airstrike campaign Wednesday in retaliation for Tehran's attacks on ships trying to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. Here's more from AP's John Gambrell.
The U.S. Navy has restarted a blockade of Iranian ports. Now, this blockade is aimed at stopping Iran from getting its crude oil to the international market. And that's important because crude oil is a main driver of Iran's economy. Now, this comes as Iran has been attacking ships going through the Strait of Hormuz on a route that is hugging the coastline of Oman. Tehran has insisted that any ship going through the strait must do so on a route through Iranian waters and must follow the instructions of Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard. Now, the U.S. had been trying to support those vessels, and the UN's International Maritime Organization had supported this route around Oman, but the ships that have been attacked by Iran in recent days all have been plying that route. All of this comes as the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow mouth of the Persian Gulf through which about a fifth of all crude oil and natural gas traded once passed in peacetime, has become the key issue over trying to end the Iran war. And as these attacks on ships have continued, and as U.S. airstrikes have gone on against Iran for days, and Iran has retaliated against Middle East allies of America, this has really called into question whether or not there will be any sort of permanent end to the Iran war. Already we've heard from the U.S. that any negotiations with Iran over its nuclear program or other issues would have to be on hold until the strait was fully open. And Iran is insisting that it must maintain control of the strait and be able to potentially charge fees on ships going through the waterway. That's been rejected by Gulf Arab allies, the United States, and other countries around the world, showing just how intractable this conflict is and showing that as these attacks continue, the likelihood of a full-on war breaking out yet again in the Middle East is rising.
That is AP's John Gambrell. We've got your money report from Bloomberg next.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to My Computer Career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Time for your money report now. It's sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
PayPal may be the target of a blockbuster deal. Payment processing firm Stripe and private equity firm Advent International are said to have offered to buy the fintech pioneer for more than $53 billion, according to Reuters. PayPal was an early mover in digital payments. It has since struggled with modernizing its technology as rivals such as Apple have seized market share. Turning to trading, Wall Street is keeping a close close eye on developments in the Middle East. Geopolitical tensions front and center. And OpenAI is getting ready to bring ChatGPT into your living room. The company is said to be developing a mobile smart speaker meant to serve as a human-like AI companion. It will help control smart home appliances, play media, answer questions, and respond to messages, and tap into the range of capabilities offered by ChatGPT. This report is sponsored by Vanguard Investor Choice, a proxy voting program for eligible Vanguard index funds. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Tom Ackerman with you. It is July, which means it could be your lucky day. It is back. If you need a new garage door, especially the $5,000 sweepstakes back with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Deadline to enter, the end of the month, to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Now, when you're talking about the best garage door company in the area, there's no question it's Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. They can boast that they are the longest running, 100 years since 1926, that they invented the overhead garage door, that they have outstanding technicians and employees, and they also have the $5,000 sweepstakes. Enter now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. That's where winners go. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
You feel it every time you check out. Prices up, paychecks stretched, families squeezed. That's why Ann Wagner's fighting to get government off your back and out of your way. Wagner passed the largest tax cut in American history, expanded child tax credits, ended taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security. And Wagner is working to lower costs so families keep more of their hard-earned money. But Ann Wagner knows delivering from Missouri means more than just protecting their wallets. It means protecting our streets as well. That's why Wagner fought to secure our border, deport dangerous illegal aliens, partner with law enforcement, and put predators behind bars and off our streets so our neighborhoods and communities stay safe. Because real effective leadership protects what matters most: your money, your family, your safety. Ann Wagner for Congress.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this ad for your morning commute to wake you up, which could help your driving. Science says that stimulating the brain increases alertness. So here's a pop quiz. How many months have 28 days? What gets wetter as it dries? What has keys but can't open locks? If you don't want to hear the answers, turn off this Liberty Mutual ad now. 12 months, a towel, piano. Enjoy being fully alert.
Liberty, 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 liberty. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This is 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. Toxic smoke from hundreds of wildfires in Canada drifting south, triggering air quality from the Great Lakes to New York and New England. A group of 26 Meta employees has sued the company, claiming it used artificial intelligence systems that disproportionately targeted those on medical or family leave for layoffs. And Trump administration officials have reportedly told immigration and customs enforcement officers to suspend most vehicle stops after 2 deadly shootings in a little over a week. Meanwhile, the president himself posted on social media that ICE traffic stops should continue. 8:40, time for a check of the roads with Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Megan, we're still seeing that pocket of volume southbound on Highway 55 from 255 headed up towards 111. It's right in the middle of that road construction zone, and we had an accident there, so that's what's causing those delays. Eastbound drivers, or northbound drivers, I should say, on 55 slowing as well through the road work. Headed northbound on Highway 270, just a pocket of volume approaching Manchester Road. North of there, pretty good run headed up towards Highway 64. Still busy ramping onto eastbound 64, southbound on Highway 170 from about the Galleria Parkway. I'm Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
Well, We'll have a mix of sun and clouds today, hot and humid this afternoon with a high of 92. Partly cloudy, warm and humid tonight with an overnight low of 76. And then we could see some heavy thunderstorms around in the afternoon and evening tomorrow with a high near 90. We have sunny skies, 80 degrees now downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch. Thanks for listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX. A national animal welfare group says it's seeing gains when it comes to slowing the sale of puppies bred and raised in inhumane conditions. Humane World for Animals, formerly the Humane Society of the United States, says a handful of states, including Illinois, and more than 500 cities and counties across the country have banned the sale of puppies in pet stores. I spoke with John Goodwin, Senior Managing Director of Puppy Mills and Equine Protection. Puppy mills have been a big issue in Missouri for decades, and I see in your report that a number of states and local governments have now banned the sale of puppies in pet stores, but are puppy mills still a major concern across the country?
Oh, yeah. The puppy mills still continue to be a thing. 9 states, it's about to be 10 when a bill that's on the Delaware governor's desk is signed into law. But right now, 9 states have prohibited the sale of puppies in pet stores, and 525 localities have done the same. And that's been effective in reducing the number of puppy mills, probably between 14 and 18% decline in USDA licensed puppy mills since 2020. But we still have a ways to go. This is, we're starting to see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, but 10 states is only 20% of the country. So there's still a lot of puppy mill activity out there.
I noticed, and I've covered this issue literally for decades. You mentioned that these facilities, many of them USDA licensed. So I think when listeners hear that, there's kind of a disconnect. So this is a regulated industry then, correct?
Yeah, so that's the talking point that you'll hear when you walk into a pet store. They'll say, listen, we use USDA licensed breeders, they're inspected by the government, et cetera, et cetera. But what they're not telling you is what do those regulations actually say. And a USDA licensed puppy mill can legally keep dogs in cages that are only 6 inches longer than their body. They can legally keep dogs in these cages where they're just standing on wire flooring their entire lives with their paws never touching grass. They can legally breed them every heat cycle until their body wears out. They can even legally kill the dogs when they're no longer productive breeders. So there's a sales pitch and then there's the reality. And they both kind of go in very, very different directions.
What would you say about the quality of a pet you would get from a puppy mill compared to a private breeder?
People will see the prices in these puppy stores. The average price might be $4,500, $5,000, and they're going to assume that must mean that the puppy comes from a premium breeder. But the reality is that high-volume pet retailers, like pet stores, rely on high-volume pet breeders who can mass-produce enough puppies keep those glass display cases filled. That means those operations are focused on quantity, not quality. Contrast that with a responsible breeder who's going to be focused on one breed of dog, who's going to have a smaller number of dogs, and they're going to be more selective about who is bred to who, more genetic tests to make sure that they're breeding healthy dogs. And you can see that the outcome is very, very different between a responsible breeder and a puppy mill.
So if someone hearing this wants to try to find a puppy from a reputable, responsible breeder, how in the world do they go about doing that?
I would recommend looking at the breed club for the type of dog you're looking for. So every breed, whether we're talking Labradors or Rottweilers or Shiba Inus or Yorkshire Terriers, is going to have a breed club. And they will be able to point you in the direction of someone who is hopefully relatively local to your community. Now, I wouldn't say that the research needs to stop there, though. If you're going to buy a dog from one of these breeders, then I would strongly recommend meeting the breeder in person, meeting the mother dog, and seeing where the mother dog lives. 3 steps. Meet the breeder, meet the mother dog, see where the mother dog lives. That way, you will have the transparency. You'll be able to see exactly who you're dealing with and the care that animal's received, and you'll know if you're dealing with someone who is a good breeder or if you are, in fact, stumbling across a puppy mill.
On the other hand, when you look at pet stores, do you feel like sometimes because of that, you describing this process that does take some time for buyers, a pet store, on the other hand, is kind of an emotional decision people might make in the moment?
Oh, 100%. When you walk into these puppy stores, you do not see prices displayed, and that is by design. They want to get you into that little cubicle. They want to tell you that they've got to check the manager to see what the price is. But in the meantime, they're going to introduce you to this little 8-week-old ball of fluff that they're going to count on you falling in love with. And then they're going to come back and tell you a price that's usually quite high, and try to pitch you on a monthly installment financing plan that sometimes has predatory interest rates. But it's all about this sort of emotional manipulation to get you to buy. And you really are better off for a million reasons, either adopting from a shelter or rescue or seeking out a responsible breeder where you're not going to have those sort of high-pressure tactics to get you to buy a puppy that may not be the right fit for your household even.
So, John, I'm really curious. You mentioned this at the start about, the legislation and what you've seen as far as the instance of puppy mills. As I mentioned, Missouri has been a big state for this traditionally. What trends are you seeing, and what do you think needs to happen next?
Yeah, Missouri is certainly a big player in the puppy mill industry. We put out an annual report called The Horrible 100 that documents problems at 100 puppy mills, and Missouri is always at the top of the list. But we are seeing progress. 9, soon to be 10 states have banned the sale of puppies in stores because those puppies come from puppy mills, and about 525 localities have done the same. That is causing a reduction both in puppy mills and in the size of the remaining puppy mills. We need to continue to pass these laws that shut off the marketplace to these cruel puppy mills, but we also need stronger action against the mills themselves. Unfortunately, it's very hard to get anything passed in Congress right now, but we do have a bill pending up there called the Puppy Protection Act that would dramatically increase the standards of care for dogs in these USDA licensed facilities. So there's a number of things that we need to do, and I do think the support's there to get them done. We just have to get through the political inertia.
That is John Goodwin with Humane World for Animals. While some retailers have shifted to hosting rescue events, other large pet retailers are fighting bans on pet store puppy sales, arguing that the industry is heavily regulated. Coming up next on Total Information AM, travel writer Bill Cleveland tells us about a quick Midwest trip you can get in before school starts in the fall.
Well, it's official. My friends have all switched to Pure Talk because I told them they could save a bunch of money on a super reliable high-speed network with unlimited data. And because they're my friends, they trust me. As for the rest of you, well, Pure Talk understands that even though you might like me, you're not just going to take my word for it, nor should you. For that reason, and for a very limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited plan that normally sells for $65 a month. Think of it like a test drive, a super simple way to save $150 while you kick the tires on Pure Talk's blazing fast network, and a fine way to see for yourself why I switched from Big Wireless, along with a few 100,000 of my closest friends. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and be connected to Pure Talk's friendly U.S. customer service team. Again, dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
Love your low mortgage rate but need extra cash? Don't refinance. Get a Scott Credit Union home equity line of credit for home renovations or debt consolidation. Learn more at scu.org. Rates vary. Terms and conditions apply.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circa Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. For everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circa Sports app, then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circa Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Thanks for joining me this morning for Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch, and travel writer Bill Cleveland of Bill on the Road just spent a few days in the Midwest city of Indianapolis, located a little under 4 hours from the St. Louis area. He joins us now to talk about some of his favorite things to do if you want to try to sneak in one last road trip this summer. Good morning, Bill.
Hey, good morning, Megan. How's it going?
Going well. What's the top stop in Indianapolis?
Oh, so Indianapolis is pretty dear to my heart. When I first started travel writing, this was one of the first cities that I went to explore, and have loved going back over the years. There's just so much to do, and especially, as you mentioned, it's so close to St. Louis. Great weekend trip or even a little mini vacation up there. Don't sleep on this place. I was actually just there for a book signing for my book, Presidential Road Trips. Had a really cool event at the President Benjamin Harrison home, which is there. And folks, of course, can go and tour that presidential home. Pretty neat to walk through there and see where a former American president lived. One of my favorite things to do, and these people should be paying me to be a public relations person for them, because I promote them all the time, but it's so great. It's the Children's Museum of Indianapolis. So if you have kids or you have grandkids and you are looking for just an amazing place, and Megan, you know this because we've done these segments many times over the years, but I have been to more museums than the average person, and I'm telling you, this is the greatest children's museum in the entire country. It is absolutely phenomenal. I think it's 5 floors of, anything you could think of. And from dinosaurs to just really cool exhibits. Like, I recently talked about one of their cool exhibits they did on Hot Wheels, right? So the whole thing was, themed around, the Hot Wheel cars and, interactive things that kids can do and collectibles and things. And what's really cool about this museum, Megan, is that you can go with your kids or your grandkids or whatever, and adults will see things that they think are really cool, and kids will see things that they think are really cool within the same exhibits. And so it's really neat to see families interacting and experiencing this place together, because, you go to a lot of kids' museums and it's, mom and dad are on the telephone, texting or doing whatever, and the kids are running around. It's not like that there. So it's really cool. And they have an awesome outdoor sports complex as well. It's like 10 or 12 like miniature versions of stadiums and soccer fields and different things where kids can go and play. So don't sleep on that one. That's a really cool one. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway, I think people forget if you're not a racing fan, because I am not. I don't know much about racing, but I recommend everyone at least once in your life go to the Indianapolis 500. It is unlike anything you have ever experienced in your life. And you can tour the track, and let me just quickly tell you how big this. You don't realize how gigantic the speedway is. Let me tell you, Megan, what can fit inside of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You ready for this? Okay, and all at the same time, all these things at the exact same time can fit inside the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The Roman Coliseum, Vatican City, Churchill Downs, Yankee Stadium, the Rose Bowl, the White House, the Taj Mahal, and Liberty Island can all fit inside of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Holy smokes. I can't even grasp what that's like. Yeah.
It's absolutely gigantic, but it's really cool to tour and see that track. It's such a big part of the history there in Indianapolis. And they just have opened a really great new museum there as well that folks should check out. But lots of things to do. Monument Circle downtown, kind of a focal point of the city. They do this really cool patriotic light show every night. There's a newer place called the Bottle Works District. They took an old Coca-Cola bottling plant, turned into a food hall and a hotel. And great restaurants. There's art museums. There's all sorts of things to do and see there. And it's really walkable. So if you stay downtown, you can go and walk to restaurants, walk to some museums and things like that. So again, if you're looking for a place to go this summer, one last trip before the end of the summer, Indianapolis is a great place to go and check out.
So Bill, if folks want to check out what else you offer, where can they find your information?
What I offer? Well, you can go to Bill on the Road. Got to be careful these days saying that. BillOnTheRoad.com is my website. You can go to Facebook and follow me at Bill on the Road. And then I mentioned Presidential Road Trips. That's my latest book I have out. People can find that on Amazon.
All right. That is travel journalist Bill Cleveland of Bill on the Road. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Okay. See you, Megan.
All right. Debbie Monterey will be in for me tomorrow here on Total Information AM. We're going to learn more about music at the intersection coming up this weekend. And we're also going to get the latest economic snapshot from the Federal Reserve.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends.